Righty ho. Oopsie daisy. Quick sound check. Can everybody hear me nicely, loudly, and clearly? Bloody hell, I nearly just scratched a £1,000 monitor with my microphone there. And then you had to buy another one. Oh dear. Jeez, £1,000 monitor nearly went up the Swanee. Right. Can everybody hear me loudly and clearly? Cool. I've got some good news for you guys. Particularly good news for the haters out there. I might be retiring very soon, but that's not the topic of today's show. But we will talk about that maybe at the end of the show. I think I might be retiring very, very soon because this can't go on forever. But before we talk about that, I want to talk about Dillian Whyte. Dillian Whyte has 8 days left to sign this contract for the Tyson Fury fight. 8 days. We've been hearing for the last 2 years from certain individuals. Tyson Fury is a coward and he's afraid to fight Dillian Whyte. All right? Fury's a coward and he's afraid to fight Dillian Whyte. He's going to do everything he can to get out of the Dillian Whyte fight. IFL TV have just released a set of interviews about an hour or two ago with Bob Arum and Frank Warren. They've confirmed that Tyson Fury has signed his half of the contract for this Dillian Whyte fight. So Tyson Fury has signed his half of the contract for the Dillian Whyte fight. I have to be honest with you. It's very, very strange from a fighter who's supposed to be ducking to go ahead and sign a contract to fight. Strange that, isn't it? Do you find that strange? It's very strange how a fighter who was so desperate to avoid Dillian Whyte, because he's the can man, isn't he? What do they call him? He's the can man. I'm the can man, can fight anybody, anyone can get it, yeah? Fury was so desperate to avoid Dillian Whyte, he's now signed his half of the contract. The only person who hasn't signed their half of the contract is Dillian Whyte. We're still waiting. Now, what's going on is very, very interesting because we talked last week about the excuses. I mean, the amount of excuses I'm now beginning to... Umar Ahmed, for some reason, is now getting it. Why are people focusing on Umar Ahmed? All of a sudden, yeah, after 2.5 to 3 years of bad interviews, now all of a sudden, for some reason, yeah, in the month of February in 2022, everybody now decides that they want to talk about Umar Ahmed's interview technique. What the hell? Do you not find that bizarre? After 2 and 3 years of dodgy interviews, in February of 2022, now all of a sudden everybody wants to start talking about Umar Ahmed's interview technique. They don't want to talk about why Anthony Joshua still hasn't agreed or done the deal to fight Alexander Usyk, despite activating this magical rematch clause back in October of 2021. They don't want to talk about that, do they? AJ activated that rematch clause in October of 2021. Still no date for the Usyk fight. They don't want to talk about that. They don't want to talk too much about DAZN not being able to buy BT Sport and how that's going to affect business. Very, very reluctant to talk about that. That's strange, isn't it? Very, very reluctant to talk about the deal. Have you guys noticed? Do you know we were one of the only UK channels to do a video on DAZN failing to buy BT Sport? Did you ever find that funny? Did you not find that a bit suspicious? It's almost as if certain other people just tried to pretend that news didn't happen. It's funny, isn't it? Do you ever notice how in the run-up to that deal, there was video after video? Is this the end for Frank Warren? And then when it turned out that DAZN weren't buying BT Sport, silence. A bit strange that. So what are we talking about here? We're talking about everything other than what we should be talking about. We're focusing on everything other than what we're focusing on. We're focusing on Umar Ahmed's interview technique. We're focusing on everything other than when's Dillian Whyte going to sign this contract? When is he going to sign this contract? When is he going to sign it tomorrow? Is he going to sign it next week? So according to Frank and Bob, he now wants more money. See, this is why it doesn't make any sense to me. What was the arbitration about? What? It's just bizarre, isn't it? I thought I was told, right, that Dillian was going to get more money because the arbitrator was going to rule in Dillian's favour, and then Frank was going to have to pay Dillian a much bigger split, and then Frank was going to go bankrupt. That's what I was being told last week. Do you remember that? I was told Dillian was going to get more money. The arbitrator was going to sort it out. Well, here's a question. Two questions. One, if the arbitrator is going to sort it out, why is Dillian through his lawyer asking for more money? Surely just wait for the arbitrator's decision, right? Why is he now asking for more money? Apparently, according to Frank and Bob, he's saying that he's not going to promote the fight unless he gets more money. That's what I've heard from Frank and Bob. Let me know if I misheard that. He's not going to promote the fight unless he gets more money. So check this out, right? One more time, right? One more time. This man's going to get $7 million just to show up. If he wins, like he says he's going to win, he's going to get $11 million. According to Chris McKenna, I'll see if I can get it up on the screen for you. According to Chris McKenna, there is no rematch clause. There is no option. So after this fight, apparently he'll be a free agent. So I'm struggling to figure out what's the problem. Apparently, $11 million, the WBC, the ring, and the lineal isn't enough now. Is it enough? And you need even more money, right? And if you don't get any more money, you're now saying you're not going to promote the fight. Now, it appears, and I don't know why, but my keyboard has gone completely missing here. So I've got no keyboard, but here we go. It appears that Frank and Bob have called his bluff. And in this interview that you can see here, I'm not going to play it for obvious reasons. It belongs to IFL TV. But you see here, here's the interview with Bob Arum. And here's the interview with Frank Warren. Bob Arum says in this interview that Bob and Frank have told him, you know what Bob and Frank said in an effort to make this fight? They said, if the fight makes a certain amount of money, and if they hit certain targets on pay-per-view, they would be happy to give Dillian a little bit of the back end. Can you believe this now? They're not entitled to pay this guy any more than 20%, as far as I'm aware. If I'm wrong on that, please let me know, right? They're not obligated to pay this guy any more than 20%. This guy is already getting the biggest purse of his career. Bob and Frank are now saying, if the fight hits certain targets, we'd be open to you getting a bit more of the back end. And apparently, even that wasn't good enough. That's the impression that I got. Even that wasn't good enough. After 2 years and legal action, right at the last minute, all of these issues are now popping up. Frank and Bob have said to Dillian Whyte, if you don't want to promote the fight, don't promote the fight, just sign the contract. It's like the excuses are just running out, aren't they? Frank and Bob aren't saying to Dillian Whyte, right, if you don't promote the fight's off. Frank and Bob are saying to Dillian Whyte, look, if you don't promote the fight, you don't promote the fight. Just sign the contract and turn up on fight night. That's what they're saying in these two interviews. Still no signature. Still no signature. What are we waiting for? What's the hold up? And why are we talking about Umar Johnson's interview technique? Umar Johnson. Why are we talking about Umar Ahmed's interview technique? Because Dillian Whyte has 7 days left to sign this agreement. So why are we talking about that? Instead of harassing Umar on IFL TV about what questions he's asking and what questions he's not asking, Dillian Whyte's got 7 days left to sign this agreement. You've been telling me that Tyson Fury's a coward and he's been avoiding Dillian Whyte. Well, Tyson Fury signed his end of the agreement. If Dillian Whyte doesn't sign his end of the agreement in the next 7 days, this fight's off. Those are the questions that I would be asking. Am I wrong for saying that? Am I a hater? Should I be getting death threats through my inbox for saying that? Is that what should happen to me? Should I get beaten up for pointing out the obvious? Is that what should happen? Should it be Ultra Tech? Send me your Addy. What's the other one of these guys? Send me your address, Ultra. Send me your address. I'll fight you anytime. Because you've pointed out that Dillian has 7 days left to sign his contract. This man has 7 days left. One of the biggest fights. Listen, this is what these guys said. It was the biggest. What were they saying? This is the biggest fight in Britain since Lewis and Bruno. I didn't say that. That's what they said. Did they not? They said it's the biggest fight since Lewis and Bruno. This fight's huge. Why won't Tyson Fury give Dillian a shot? Well, he signed his half of the contract. So when's Dillian going to sign then? Let me tell you something. If my keyboard actually worked, which for some reason, I have no idea why. Oh, I think I know why. Hold on, turn that off. I want to get up this Dean Whyte interview with Boxing Social. Have you seen Dean Whyte's latest interview with Boxing Social? Has anybody seen that? Dean Whyte's latest interview with Boxing Social. Dean Whyte said in his latest interview with Boxing Social, and I quote, and I'm going to try and get this up. For some reason, my keyboard is absolutely all over the place at the minute. Jesus Christ, Microsoft are an absolute disgrace. Dean Whyte said in his latest interview with Boxing Social, he said, if and when the fight happens. I quote, that's what he said when he was asked about if the fight's going to happen. Yeah, it's sad, Ken, exactly right. Dean Whyte claims he knows nothing about what's going on. So let's get this right. Let's have a look at this. No. Dean Whyte, Richard, Dean Whyte just did an interview with Boxing Social like yesterday or the day before. Go and watch it. Do you know what, yeah? I don't know why. Here we go. I think I have a keyboard back. Right, let's try this. Here we go. I've got my keyboard back. Let me get this up on the screen. Dean Whyte just did an interview with Boxing Social a couple of days ago. As Sad Ken said, his claims were absolutely and utterly bizarre. Here we go. Just look at the tagline of this interview from Dean Whyte. We'll see how it plays out. Dean Whyte coy on Fury, Whyte, and Dillian silence. Just by the headline alone, you can see its problems. We'll see how it plays out. Do you know what he said in his interview, Dean Whyte? He said the fans want to see this fight. The fans want to see this fight. It will be a great fight to see if and when the fight happens. That's his brother. If and when the fight happens. Look at the title. We'll see how it plays out. But I thought you were waiting for 1,000 days for this opportunity. That's what I'm struggling to understand here. This is what I'm struggling to get. I thought you've been waiting 1,000 days for this opportunity. For winning, you're going to get 11 million. Frank and Bob are even open to giving you some of the pay-per-view money that you're not even entitled to if the fight hits certain targets. Do you guys think, honestly, I know this is a pro Frank and pro Bob channel or whatever, but do you guys think Frank and Bob are being reasonable with Dillian? No, I'm just being honest. Genuine question. Don't tell me what I want to hear. Do you think Frank and Bob are being reasonable with Dillian? even open to giving him pay-per-view money that he's not entitled to, depending on whether the fight hits targets. Apparently, he's telling them through his lawyer, I'm not going to turn up and promote this fight unless I get more money. Well, apparently, according to these two interviews that have been released from IFL TV today, Frank and Bob have said, that's fine. If you don't want to promote it, don't turn up and promote the fight. Just turn up on fight night and collect your 7 million. What more does he need to sign? What is he waiting for? I don't understand. Can someone explain to me? What is he waiting for? What does he need to sign? This arbitration stuff. We have looked. Let me say that again. Richard and Riku have looked at the Court of Arbitration for Sport in Switzerland. Guess what? Dillian Whyte does not have any hearings with the Court of Arbitration for Sport in Switzerland, which is already handling one of his cases against the WBC, right? That court is already handling one of his cases with the WBC. We can't find anything that suggests that Dillian Whyte is going to enter any hearings in the next days, months, or weeks with the Court of Arbitration for Sport in Switzerland regarding the WBC. He's not on the list. So where's this arbitration happening? Where is it? Where is this arbitration happening? Because you can all go on the website for the Court of Arbitration for Sport, and you can see the list of upcoming hearings. This is the court that is already has a pending case between Dillian Whyte and the WBC for what looks to be a completely different matter to the matter of the purse split. So where is this arbitration case regarding the 80-20? Where is it? Because I can't find it. I mean, it might exist. I would love to know. I've had people looking out for the last week. I've been asking on social media. Nobody can find any evidence that he is in arbitration with the WBC over the 80-20 purse split. And there are no hearings involving Dillian Whyte and the Court of Arbitration for Sport in Switzerland until what? April. There's no hearings. So where is this arbitration? Where is it taking place? And which court's hearing it? None of this makes any sense. And the stories keep shifting. They keep shifting. First it was, Dillian's being silent because he can't say anything because he's in the middle of arbitration and he can't say nothing in case it hurts his case. Apparently, according to the legal masterminds on social media, Dillian Whyte is unable to come out and say, I can't wait to fight Tyson Fury. Dillian Whyte is unable to say, Tyson Fury, I'm going to knock you out. Apparently, he can't say that. Because if he says that, it's going to blow open his whole case. Apparently. So that was excuse number one, wasn't it? He can't say anything because it's going to destroy his whole case. Okay. Now it's a different story. And then all of a sudden, what is it now? It's he's not saying anything because he's not going to promote the fight. This is the new one now. It's not arbitration anymore now. The new one is he's not saying anything because he's not going to promote the fight unless he gets more money. And then there's another one. There's another third excuse. The third excuse is he's not saying anything because he's trying to get into Tyson Fury's. Oh my God. There are actually human beings in there who think that Dillian Whyte being silent in the run-up to signing a contract is somehow going to mean he beats Tyson. If Dillian Whyte beats Tyson Fury, he will beat him because he was the better man on the night. Makes sense. If Dillian Whyte beats Tyson Fury, he will beat Tyson Fury because he's the better man on the night. He ain't going to beat Tyson Fury because he stayed silent for 2 weeks in the run-up to signing the contract. What are these people talking about? I don't understand this stuff. Dillian's playing a smart game. He's being really clever. He's playing mind games with Fury. You think 2 weeks of not saying anything to the media in the run up to signing a contract is going to mean he beats the heavyweight champion in the world. What? I don't understand it. But what are we talking about? Well, no one's talking about this. No one's asking, yo, Dillian, are you going to sign this agreement? Are you going to sign this contract? You've been waiting 1,000 days. You're getting 11 million if you win. Are you going to sign this thing or what? You know, the promoters are saying, Dillian, that you don't have to turn up and promote this fight. The promoters are saying that if you do turn up and promote this fight and the fight hits certain pay-per-view targets, you know, they'll even slip you an extra bit of the back end. What's the problem, Dillian? Why can't you sign this agreement, Dillian? Why can't you talk, Dillian? You were talking every day. You've been talking every day for the last 2 years straight about how everybody's a coward. Andy Ruiz is a coward. Your words. This is not my words. That's Dillian's words. Andy Ruiz is a coward. Do you remember when? It's so funny. Do you remember when Dillian Whyte was on Instagram and Twitter, and he was what was he doing? He was saying Andy Ruiz was offered 5 million to fight me, and he turned it down. I've got proof. It was never a problem for Dillian to discuss money, was it? It was never a problem for Dillian to call people cowards. It was never a problem for Dillian to call people out. Now, all of a sudden, we're 1 week away from signing the agreement, and he can't talk. He can't talk. He can't talk. And his cheerleaders can't talk either. Do you see how quiet his cheerleaders have gone? Radio silence. Can you guys not see what's going on? Absolute and utter. Ever since BT Sport did the deal with Discovery, it has been absolute radio silence. It's been radio silence. Radio silence. And I'm not accusing Dillian of being a coward. Dillian Whyte is not a coward. Dillian Whyte's a fighting man, and Dillian Whyte will fight anybody. And I've always said that. Dean Whyte is not a coward. Dean Whyte is a fighting man, and Dean Whyte will fight anybody. I actually like Dean Whyte. This is one of the reasons why I'm going to be retiring very, very soon from this whole game, because it's a complete waste of time. I have been a fool. I have been an idiot for thinking that I could make people believe and see sense, logical sense. I was an idiot for ever believing that I could somehow make people cut through the bullshit and see basic comments. I was an idiot. I was an absolute idiot. Do you know what? Do you know when I realised I need to retire from YouTube? I realised I need to retire from YouTube when I saw people 2 years ago. You know, when we had a very, very unfortunate situation, yeah, with an illness that was going around, right? And people were hoarding toilet paper and hand sanitizer. That's when I knew. I just thought, you know what? These people can't be helped. Society can't be helped. You can't. People are going to believe what they want to believe. Does that make sense? People are going to believe what they're going to believe. There's nothing you can say or do to convince these people of anything. That's it. You can't. You can't. As Shevin said, but they left a certain beer on the shelves. Absolutely correct. That's the kind of individuals you're dealing with. You're dealing with individuals who won't drink a certain brand of beer. During the beginning of lockdown, just before lockdown, beer in this country, you couldn't find a beer on the shelves. All the beer brands were cleared out in the run-up to lockdown, apart from one brand of beer. People wouldn't buy that particular brand of beer and left it on the shelves because they actually believed that if they drank that beer, they would get ill. You know what I'm talking about. This is the kind of mentality you're dealing with. You can't. I could literally get Dillian Whyte on FaceTime right now, yeah? I could literally get Dillian Whyte on FaceTime right now. And if Dillian Whyte came on FaceTime right now and said, Ultra, I'm not signing this contract because I'm afraid of Tyson Fury. I'm telling you, if Dillian Whyte came on this channel right now and said that, do you know what his cheerleaders would say? This is what no, Ultra, it's all mind games. It's mind games. Dillian's playing mind games. It's all a big game, Ultra. Don't worry, you'll see. Dillian Whyte himself could come on this channel right now and say, Ultra, do you know what? I'm not signing for this fight. I'm going to fight somebody else. Dillian's playing mind games. It's all a game plan. It's all a conspiracy. Dillian's playing mind games. It's all a plan. It's all a plan to scare Tyson Fury. It's all a plan. It's all a big grandmaster plan. He's so clever. Oh, he's so clever. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, this is the kind of people that you're talking to on a regular basis. This is what you have to deal with. These people don't get. You see how I'm saying here? Is Dillian Whyte going to sign the contract? This is what you now hear. Oh, do you hear what Ultra said? Do you hear what Ultra said? That Ultra said Dillian Whyte is a coward and that he's afraid. And Ultra said that he hates Dillian. And Ultra said that he hates Dillian Whyte. No. I'm asking the question. I'm asking the question that for some reason, media don't want to ask at the minute. They seem to be very, very keen at the minute to talk about Umar Ahmed. They seem to be very, very keen to talk about Frank Warren, Bob Arum, Eddie Hearn. The only person I want to hear from is Dillian Whyte. And I want to hear why this contract has not been signed. If there is something in that contract that is illegal or dodgy, then come out and say it. And let's resolve it. Let's negotiate over it. Let's resolve it. Because we've got 7 days to go. Haven't we? Am I wrong? We've got 7 or 8 days to go. And I'm pretty keen to get this fight on. Do you know why I'm keen to get this fight on? Because I just want an end to the bullshit. Do you know at this point, yeah? I'm not even bothered if Dillian wins the fight. I just want an end to this nonsense. But you know what, guys? Can I honestly be real? Be real, honestly. I believe deep down there are some people who don't want this fight to happen. I honestly believe deep down in my heart that there are some people, right? And what they like to do is they like to shout their mouth off and say things like, this guy's a coward and this is that and this and that. They like the shouting part. They like to shout it out. X fighter's a coward, X fighter's a bum, all these kind of things. He's a coward, he's a ducker. 110 viewers and 30 likes. Just another reason why I'm going to retire. Can't even hit the like button. I'm not charging people. Have I ever asked you for £1.99 a month to subscribe to this channel? Have I ever spot Google ads on this channel? But it's okay, it's cool. Can't even hit the like button. Can't even hit the like button. But you're gonna pay these other cappers £1.99 a month from Super Chat. Jesus Christ, man. This is what you deal with, isn't it? Nah, I can't hit the like button, but I'm gonna super chat these people. I'm gonna super chat these cappers for capping. Super chat. I don't know, man. Anyway, look. I honestly believe that certain people don't want this fight to happen. That's just what I believe. I could be wrong on that, but I genuinely believe that. I believe that certain people don't want this fight to happen because they don't want to get embarrassed and they don't want to have to come on social media if Dillian Whyte loses. And that's what's happening. Come on. I'm not telling you anything you don't know. That's what's happening, isn't it? No, but it's squeaky bum time, isn't it? Let's be real, like, But it is squeaky bum time, isn't it? Squeaky bum time, isn't it? Squeaky bum times. They don't want it. They don't want this fight to happen. Do you know what they're doing right now? They're hiding away and they're hoping. They're just hiding away, hoping this is all going to go away, innit? Head in the sand. Dillian's got 7 days to sign this contract. You told me that Tyson Fury is a coward. You told me there was a conspiracy by the WBC to screw Dillian Whyte. That's what you told me. You told me there was a conspiracy against Dillian Whyte by the WBC. That's what you told me. You told me there was a conspiracy by Deontay Wilder, and then you told me there was a conspiracy by Tyson Fury. That's what you told me. All I'm saying is the following. I'm not hating on Dillian Whyte. I'm not hating on Dean Whyte. I'm asking the simple question. You told me there's a conspiracy. So how come Tyson Fury signed this contract? And how come Dillian Whyte hasn't? If there's a conspiracy, how has that happened? If there's this big conspiracy against Dillian Whyte, then how come Tyson Fury signed his half of the contract and Dillian Whyte hasn't signed his then? Where is the evidence of this conspiracy? Where's the evidence? Well, I was going to ask something else, but where's the evidence of this big grand conspiracy? So far, all I can see is this. One fighter has signed, one fighter has not signed. The fighter who has not signed is going to get a career high payday. What more do we need? And that's why I made this video. I wanted to ask now, what more does Dillian Whyte need to sign this agreement? And that's what I wanted to ask in the chat. Like, what more does Dillian Whyte need to just sign this to sign this agreement? What more does he need? He doesn't have to promote the fight. If he promotes the fight, there's a chance he can get a bit of extra money. But he doesn't have to promote the fight. No one's pressuring him to promote the fight. So what is the hold-up? What I'm effectively asking now is, what are the excuses today? What are they? Because we've got 7 days left now, and it's beginning to run out, isn't it? And I'm looking forward, as a boxing fan, to seeing this fight happen. Because you keep telling me that I'm a hater. You keep telling me that I deserve to die. You keep telling me that I should commit suicide. You keep telling me that you're going to find my house address. You keep telling me that you're going to do this to me. You keep saying you're going to do that to me. So I'm asking you now, right? I'm asking you, is this guy going to sign? And then we find out once and for all. Isn't that what you want, right? You want to find out who the better man is. Okay, well, in order to do that, you have to sign the agreement, right? I'll go through your comments in a second. I will go through your comments. 116 in the chat. 59 likes. I would like a few more likes, but if not, that's fine. For the Amir Khan show, let me tell you now, it's going to be subscriber-only chat for the Amir Khan special. Listen, enjoy these shows while you can. And I'm not saying it so people say, oh, Cha, please don't leave. I'm telling you. You'll see. When you see who I've got lined up to come on this show, you'll realise. You'll realise. When you see who I've got coming on this show, if they agree to come on, a former YouTuber who you know from many, many years ago, some of you will know, a former YouTuber, one of the best in the business from many, many years ago. You'll understand what I'm talking about and why I'm saying what I'm saying. But that's all I'm trying to say here. Get your questions in and we'll go through. But I'm just trying to figure out, and I'm talking as a boxing fan. No, Spotless Leopard, it's not boxing gossip. It's not boxing gossip. But you will see. And, you know, I just think at this point, if these people now, it's not Wingy either. It's not Wingy. I'm not going to tell you who it is, but it's not Wingy, it's not BG. But if you can't see what's going on now, if you can't cut through the bullshit and see what's going on with this situation, then you're never going to be able to see, are you? There's no more convincing that I can do. Innit though? There's no more convincing that I can't convince these people anymore, innit? All I will say is this. It's not Emperor Michael either. Although Emperor Michael is a friend of the channel. I've got no problem with Emperor Michael. He's a good dude. Alright, if you can stop trying to guess who it is, that'd be fantastic, because you ain't guessing. You ain't going to get it right. But you'll see. You'll see. And all I want to say is, yeah, those are the questions that I would like to see asked by the media and by people on social media. That's what they need to be asking. Don't worry about what Umar's asking. Yeah? Umar Ahmed isn't the one who's been calling other fighters cowards and saying that he's been mandatory for 1,000 days. Right? Umar Ahmed hasn't been doing that, yeah? Umar Ahmed isn't taking legal action against the WBC. Umar Ahmed isn't the one turning around and saying there's a global conspiracy against him to stop him becoming champion, right? Umar Ahmed's not calling himself the can man. Umar Ahmed's Twitter bio doesn't say he's the real WBC champion of the world. And Umar Ahmed doesn't call himself the can man and say anybody can get it at any time. So don't worry about Umar, right? Don't worry about Umar. Don't worry about what questions he's asking, right? Just worry about this contract. Worry about this contract and worry about who's going to sign this contract and when's this contract going to get signed. And also, can I say one other thing? Worry about Anthony Joshua. What do they call him? The throwback fighter. He called himself a throwback fighter, didn't he? Is that not what happened? Did Anthony Joshua not call himself a throwback? Do you know what? That his fan base I tell you, they are unbelievable, aren't they? This Anthony Joshua fan base. They are unbelievable, aren't they? Jesus. Have you seen these people in action? Do you know, can I ask you an honest question? Genuine question. If Anthony Joshua did not have big muscles, do you think they would be so defensive of him as they are? I'm convinced that a lot of the reason why Anthony Joshua has so many fans and stuff, obviously he's very exciting to watch in the ring, right? But it's his big muscles, isn't it? Like, can I just be honest? Like, if Anthony Joshua didn't have big muscles, do you think grown men and women would be threatening people online or making hour and a half, 2 hour videos about other people because they don't like other people's opinions about Anthony Joshua? I think his big muscles have something to do with it. Do you think that's a fair comment? Like, what is driving? No, you have to listen. You have to ask yourself the basic questions, right? What drives a normal, living, breathing mammal with a sane mind? What drives that individual to send people threats or make videos about other people because they don't like their opinion on Anthony Joshua? Do you understand the kind of mindset that goes into somebody like that? Do you understand that? That person literally sat around and decided, do you know what? I don't have anything better to do with my time than to sit down and make a flipping YouTube video, or I didn't have enough time, or I couldn't do anything better with my time than to start DMing people threats or leaving messages on people's YouTube pages asking them to kill themselves, or leaving racist messages on people. Do you understand what I'm saying? Saying you're not really black and you're a fake black guy. But do you understand the mindset of these people? Do you understand that the mindset of these individuals? These individuals actually, they're saying, what am I going to do today? I'm going to sit down and make a 2 hour video because I don't like what somebody else said about Anthony Joshua. I'm going to turn around now and I'm going to spend an hour and a half watching Ultra Tech, even though I can't stand. And this is what they do. They'll come on here and they'll watch the entire live show. The entire live show. They hate Ultra Tech so much, they will watch the entire live show. If you block them, they'll go and create another account. Literally, in 5 or 10 minutes, they'll create another account. Then they'll come back and then they'll follow you again. I've had people create literally 5 and 6, 7 accounts in a day, just to talk to me about Anthony Joshua and Anthony Joshua's resume. Do you understand that? I'll say it one more time. I am not a rich individual. If you want to talk to people who have money, you want to talk to people like Chevron, who actually has money, like who legit has money, genuinely, like people like Richard who actually have money. I do not have that much money, but can I be honest with you? And what people want to do on their social media is honestly their own opinion, yeah. But when I wake up in the morning, honestly, thank God to the Lord. That's all I'm saying. Thank God to the Lord. There is not a day that I have ever woken up and thought, do you know what? I need to turn on Super Chat today. Because if I don't turn on Super Chat and make a couple of 199s or 399s about boxing, I'm not going to be able to. Do you understand that kind of mind? I've never ever woken up and thought that ever. Thank God. Maybe that will happen one day, but I've never ever been in a situation where I have to resort to that. Do you understand? I do this for a laugh. I do this as a side project. I do this as a hobby. I've never made a penny. I never do that. Can you imagine that? Do you know what? I better turn on Super Chat because I need some money. I need some extra 199s and 399s. Wow. Jesus, man. I don't want to be in that situation. That's all I can say, man. I don't want to be, personally for me, I don't want to be in that situation. Well, that's what I have to do. I have to ask you guys to give me a couple of 199s or a couple of 299s. To do what? At what point do you think, look, honestly, like, at what point do you just think, do you know what? I'm like 30 years old, 40 years old. Maybe I could do something a little bit more productive. That's just me. But you know me, I'm not getting involved in this YouTube stuff. I don't get involved in any of this YouTube beef, man, or any of this stuff. All I'm talking about is the people who keep coming at me, man. The people who keep coming at me. Like I'm apparently I'm worse than Joseph Stalin because I'm asking why Dillian Whyte hasn't signed this contract. Can you believe this? Apparently I'm worse than Joseph Stalin because I'm asking why Anthony Joshua, who comes on IFL TV with his big muscles and calls himself a throwback fighter, and then turns around and says he looks up to gangsters like Big Meech, and who's the other one? Larry Hoover. Big Meech and Larry Hoover. I'm a throwback fighter. Apparently, I deserve death threats for asking why Big Meech, aka Throwback Fighter, hasn't got around to agreeing to fight Alexander Usyk when he got beaten flipping October. Apparently, I deserve to die for asking these questions. Apparently, I need to give people my address. Come and see me for a spar, Ultra. Come and see me for a spar. These people, let me tell you, they actually believe that I'm going to do the following, right? I've got two simultaneous software development projects that are going on at the same time, yeah? I've got two big simultaneous software development projects that are overdue, right? Two big software projects that I'm dealing with. Next week, I'm in meetings with a very, very well-known car manufacturer who you would all know. Very, very well-known car manufacturer about additions to their system. I'll be in a meeting with them next week. These individuals actually believe that I would pull out of said meeting and that I would take a day off work, or that I would go after work and go, you know what? Sorry, you know what? I can't go into this meeting with you, big car manufacturer. I can't make this meeting. Do you know why? Because Dave off YouTube is really upset with me because I said something about Anthony Joshua's resume, and now he wants my address and he wants to fight me. So now, I'm sorry, big car company manufacturer, I'm not going to have that meeting with you. I'm sorry, third-party software development team. I'm not going to spend time looking into your API and how we can communicate back and forth with you. I can't do that because Dave from Doncaster is upset with me. He's upset with me because I talked about Anthony Joshua's resume and he wants my address. Otherwise, I'm a coward. So now I have to go and fight him, apparently, just to prove a point, if he even shows up. That's apparently how these people operate. Send me your Addy. Let's do a debate on YouTube. Let's do a debate on YouTube. Flipping hell. That's what I'm supposed to do. Apparently, that's how I get respect, right? That's not a problem. I'll put all the software development to one side. That's not a problem. It's not like it makes me any money. I'll just stop doing the one thing that I actually make money from, and I'll start having YouTube debates about Anthony Joshua's resume. Should I do that? Should we start doing that? Should I start putting even less time into a day job that allows me to work from home 24/7? Is that what I need to do? A job that allowed me to work from home 24/7 during a pandemic where people were flipping crammed together on trains like sardines on the underground. Is that what I need to do? Is that what I need to do to be like you, yeah? I start work in the morning, 9 o'clock, 10 a.m. every day. I get out of bed in my boxer shorts. I make my way over to my computer and I log in. Every day. You're on the underground. In a tin can. Getting up at 6:30 in the morning to get somewhere for 9 o'clock. Apparently, I need to stop doing what I'm doing so I can argue with you on YouTube and have a debate about Anthony Joshua's resume and top tens. That's apparently what I need to do. Apparently. That's what I need to do. Does it make any sense to you? Does it make any sense to you? Gosh, man. Hit the like button. Hit the like button. I appreciate that. The likes are going up now to 72 likes. But you know what I'm saying? I'm just being real. I'm being real. And I'm not attacking any one individual. I'm just saying, like, you guys have to understand, yeah? I've had, like, years of abuse, man. Do you understand? Years of abuse and years of people trying to get at your family and people, you know, trying to find out your personal information and stuff. And it's just like, gosh, man. I don't know. But yeah, it is what it is. But getting back to the boxing side of things, yeah, what about Anthony Joshua then? Because let's be honest, like, Eddie Hearn's been kicking up a big. Let's switch topic, right? Let's talk about Eddie Hearn. What's he saying? What's this week's excuse? The new excuse this week now, after he lost the purse bid, and after the zone were left in the cold by BT, right? What's the latest one now? The latest one is let's attack Umar. It's all Umar Ahmed's fault because Eddie gets a much rougher ride. And Frank Warren doesn't get asked tough questions. And Tyson Fury doesn't get asked tough questions. And the only people that are getting asked tough questions are AJ and Eddie Hearn. That's the new one now. That's the new one. Nobody's asking about when Dillian Whyte's going to sign this imaginary contract, right? They all want to talk about Eddie Hearn is very hard done by. The line of question he's getting asked is too tough. No one's asking Frank Warren and no one's asking Tyson Fury the right questions. There's probably an element of truth to that. But can I ask you a genuine question? Let me know if I'm wrong about this, right? You guys talk about asking questions, right? Eddie Hearn is not being asked the right questions. But the questions that Eddie Hearn's been asking are too tough. The questions that Tyson Fury's being asked are too tough. Genuine question. You can see this on the screen, right? When Tyson Fury was nominated for Sports Personality of the Year, and he was being, and rightly so, he has made comments. Listen, make no mistake, Tyson Fury has made comments in the past, right, that I think were very, very ill-advised. I personally disavow and I disagree with those comments that time. Do you know what? I actually believe now, if you'd asked Tyson Fury the same questions now that he answered back then, he'd have given you a different answer. I don't even believe that Tyson Fury believes some of the stuff that he was coming out with 4 or 5 years ago. All right? But anyway, forget that. Can I ask you a question? Was anybody hounded, and possibly deservedly so, was there anybody in boxing who was hounded more than Tyson Fury around about the time he was nominated for Sports Personality of the Year? Was there? I'm just asking, was there? Do you remember the one where he had the BBC? Do you remember after he beat Klitschko? Where he had the BBC outside his front door? Running after him. Look at this. This is a petition from change.org to remove him from the sport. Do you remember the uproar that Tyson Fury got just for turning up to Sports Personality of the Year? Where you had people threatening to boycott the event. Where you had fellow sports stars saying that they weren't going to turn up if Tyson Fury was nominated. Do you remember that whole thing you went from? So I'm just saying, if you look at the career of Anthony Joshua and the career of Tyson Fury, who do you think's had more pushback from the media? I would say it's Tyson Fury. And some of that is Fury's own fault. I'm just be honest. He said some dumb stuff. He said some dumb stuff. And Tyson Fury says dumb stuff every day. But who do you guys have had more of a fair run? Who's had more of a fair run from the media? Fury or Anthony Joshua? I'm just saying because they're talking about IFL TV and these media, and the media are asking Fury and Warren the right questions. I've seen a lot of questions asked. I'm trying to find it on YouTube. Where's the one where Tyson Fury was asked to his face about being a drug cheat? Do you remember this one when Tyson Fury made his comeback? And a journalist asked him to his face, but you failed a drugs test. Don't you think that blah, blah, blah? Do you remember that? I think it was a Telegraph journalist. I'm trying to find it, but I can't find it at the minute. Do you remember that one? And Tyson Fury declined to comment. Here it is. Here's the interview. Right here. Tyson Fury terminates interview. This is an interview 3 years ago when Tyson Fury made his comeback. A journalist, this guy, stood right in Tyson Fury's face, right? And basically dragged up a bunch of dirt about his failed drugs test and also about the very, very bad comments he's made about a certain group of people in the past, right? So what I'm saying is, right, I'm just asking the question. We've seen Tyson Fury really being put under pressure in the past by the media. I don't think anybody can deny that, right? We've seen the media camp outside his door. We've seen campaigns on change.org to remove him from the Sports Personality of the Year list. We've seen other sports people say they're not going to turn up for Sports Personality of the Year if Tyson Fury's involved. Actually, we've seen quite a big backlash towards Tyson Fury over the last couple of years. Have we not? Have we ever seen Anthony Joshua overcome a similar backlash? Do you remember when Anthony Joshua, when messages came from Anthony Joshua's Instagram calling someone a disgrace to the black race? Do you remember those messages? Did the media ever chase up Anthony Joshua about those messages? Did Anthony Joshua ever have journalists on his doorstep asking why he was sending those kind of DMs from his Instagram account? Did we ever get that? Did anybody ever chase that? Was he front page news or was he? Can I ask you a question? Can you imagine if another boxer? Can you imagine if another boxer had sent emails to a person of color and called them a disgrace to the black race. Can you imagine what the what the newspapers would have looked like? Look at this. What do you think? Do you think there would have been that? It's funny, but when it was Anthony Joshua, all of a sudden, swept under the carpet. Swept under the carpet, wasn't it? Or was it not? Swept under the carpet. Do you think if another boxer other than Anthony Joshua had sent those kind of messages to other people, do you think that would not have been front page news? Or not been swept under the carpet? So I'm just saying, it's a bit funny, isn't it? Now all of a sudden, we're having these conversations, aren't we? Tyson Fury isn't being and Frank Warren aren't being asked the right questions. You know what? Maybe there probably is something in that. Maybe they're afraid of Frank Warren taking legal action against them. Maybe there is something about that. But let me tell you something. There are a lot of questions that I would like to ask Eddie Hearn that Eddie Hearn has not been asked. Questions that I would like to ask Eddie Hearn. I would play Eddie Hearn his interview of him calling Canelo Alvarez a drugs cheat. Since we're talking about Eddie gets tough questions, I haven't heard Eddie pressed on this enough. What about this interview here from Eddie Hearn 3 years ago on Seconds Out? Eddie Hearn, Canelo Alvarez will always be known as a cheater. What about this? Eddie Hearn, Canelo Alvarez will always be known as a cheater. The same Eddie Hearn who's now offered Canelo a 2-fight deal worth nearly $100 million. 3 years ago, he's on here and he's saying that Canelo will always be known as a cheater, according to Seconds Out. Look at this. Eddie Hearn. Look at Canelo's physique the last GGG fight. Everyone is suspicious. Can you see this stuff here? Look at the comments he's made in the past about the same guy he's offering a 2-fight, $100 million deal. Eddie Hearn goes in on Canelo 6th-month ban. Eddie Hearn to Seconds Out. I'd say Canelo is cheating. It's all here, isn't it? But apparently he's getting asked really tough questions. I'd ask him some real tough questions. I'd ask him some real tough questions. Apparently Eddie Hearn's been asked really tough questions. Really? You think the questions he's been asked are tough? I'll play him these videos. Can somebody answer the question why Eddie Hearn was telling multiple media outlets 3 years ago that Canelo Alvarez, or insinuating that Canelo Alvarez is a drugs cheat, and then 2-3 years later, he's humming on Canelo's testicles and offering him a 2-fight deal worth $100 million. Has anybody asked Eddie Hearn in the media, Eddie, why are you trying to offer somebody who you've accused of being a drugs cheat and somebody who you've said will always be known as a drugs cheat? Why are you trying to offer that individual a 2-fight deal for $100 million? Has anybody in the media asked him that? Has his mate Coogan asked him that? Has his best mate Coogan Cassius asked him that yet? Look, it's right here. But you know what's going to happen though? And this is why it's time to call it a day with YouTube. Do you know what's going to happen? People aren't going to turn around and say, do you know what? Let's look at this logically. Ultra's probably right, isn't he? We can all see the interviews up on the screen here. Ultra's not lying because you can see Eddie Hearn's interviews right here. Eddie Hearn, I'd say Canelo is cheating. Eddie Hearn goes in on 6th-month Canelo ban. Eddie Hearn, look at Canelo's physique the last GGG fight. Everyone is suspicious. Eddie Hearn, Canelo Alvarez will always be known as a cheater. So you've seen it, right? So where's the questioning from the media to Eddie Hearn about these previous comments? Where is it? I thought he's been asked all these tough questions. I thought the media has it in for him. Where are these questions? Why is Coogan not asking them? You guys are telling me that Coogan is asking Eddie the tough questions, right? Coogan's always asking Eddie the tough questions, right? And Frank's getting the softball questions. So why isn't Coogan asking Eddie this? Obvious, isn't it? Obvious, isn't it? Let's send ultra death threats. We can't answer those questions, so let's send ultra text some death threats. So it's quite simple. Eddie Hearn's not being asked hard questions at all. He ain't being asked hard questions at all. He is not being asked hard questions at all. That is a deflection tactic. Do you know that? These guys have been interviewed by Kugan Cassius and Umar Ahmed for the last 3-4 years. And only now, when it's time for Anthony Joshua to get in the ring with Alexander Usyk, only now when Eddie Hearn lost the purse bid to BT Sport for Fury versus Whyte, and only now that Dillian Whyte has 6 days left to sign this flipping contract, only now it becomes an issue. And you're telling me it's not deflection tactics? They've had 3-4 years. They've had 3 to 4 years to moan about this. And it only becomes an issue. Umar Ahmed's interview technique only becomes an issue 6 days before Dillian Whyte has to sign his flipping contract with Tyson Fury. It only becomes an issue a month or two away or weeks away before Anthony Joshua has to sign his flipping contract with Usyk, who pretty much nearly knocked him out in his last fight. All of a sudden now, when it's squeaky bum time, Umar Ahmed's interview technique becomes an issue. But it was never an issue for 3-4 years, right? Here's another question. Steve Smith, has Eddie Hearn given the NHS workers their 200 free tickets for every UK Saturday fight night shows for the next 12 months? I have not seen any evidence that these NHS workers have been getting their tickets for every single show. That's what the promise was. It wasn't one show here or one show there. It was every single UK Saturday night fight show. 200 free tickets. Where is the proof that for every single UK Saturday night fight show, the NHS were giving 200 free tickets for every single show? Has anybody asked that question yet? Has anybody asked that question of Eddie Hearn yet? But apparently he's getting asked all these super hard questions. Apparently Umar's line of questions. When Umar Ahmed, of all people, becomes your bogeyman, you can't answer questions from Umar Ahmed. I would say at that point, it's probably time that you consider maybe spending less time in front of the camera. Do you not think? If you can't answer questions from Umar Ahmed, you can't you're not going up against Jeremy Paxman here. You're not going up against flipping Andrew Neil. You're not going up against Martin Bashir. You're going up against Umar Ahmed. I mean, IFL TV is the chicken shop date of boxing news. What was this crap that people watch? What's it called? Chicken shop date. What's this rubbish that these young brothers watch? They watch this rubbish that perpetuates negative stereotypes about our people. And they go on this show, Chicken Shop Day. Can you believe this stuff? They go on Chicken Shop Day. IFL TV's boxing's answer to Chicken Shop Day. And you can't handle questions from Umar Ahmed. Bloody hell. Bloody hell. So, I don't know, man. Me personally, I would never go on that show, Chicken Shop Day. I would never go on that show because to me, that show perpetuates negative stereotypes about my people. So I would never go on that show. Excuse me, Dean White, just give me 1 second. Sorry about that. That was Dillian Whyte about the contract. Sorry about that, guys. That was Dillian Whyte at the door. He wants to talk about Dillian's contract and why Dillian hasn't signed it. He's still outside. So yeah, those are my thoughts. Those are my thoughts. Eddie Hearn's whinging because the questions he's getting answered are too hard. Fuck me. Let me tell you. I can think of some very good questions to ask him. I'd start off asking him about his comments about Canelo Alvarez. I'd ask him about free tickets for NHS workers. And then I'd ask him why he didn't tell Oscar Rivas that the opponent that he got in the ring with may have had a problem with his urine sample. That's the next question I'd ask him. Why he felt he wasn't morally obligated to tell Oscar Rivas what was going on behind the scenes before he got into the fight with you-know-who. That's what I'd ask. And is Frank Warren a fucking angel? No. Is Frank Warren putting on bullshit cards? Yes. Let me tell you something, what I just saw the other day from Frank. This card got announced the other day. David Avanesian versus who? What's this rubbish? I can't even get it up. Probably for good reason. David Avanesian versus Metz. I know David Avanesian is the he's the mandatory, isn't he? Not mandatory, but he's going to become the #1 soon for the WBC. So I understand they want to keep him ticking over. But this Avanesian versus Metz topping the bill. Will I be watching that? No, I won't. Absolutely not. Absolutely not. I'd rather go and watch Chicken Shop Date than watch that, to be honest. So Frank Warren ain't off the hook either. Because this, to me, honestly, I'm not watching this. Avanesian versus Metz. Miss me with that shit. Miss me with it. I won't be promoting it. I won't be doing a live for it. And after tonight, I won't even be talking about it. So I don't think Frank Warren's off the flipping hook either. But what's that got to do with the topic of today's show? Right? 72. Oh, the likes are getting better. I appreciate that. 86 likes. Thank you. 110 people. 86 likes. I really appreciate the support. Right, get your comments in. Let's get them in. I'm going to be here for a little bit longer. Let's get this up. Here we go. Let's get these comments in. Let's have a chat. It's not a problem. What I would like to do is put the link out for people. That's what I should be able to do, right? I should normally be able to put the link out for people and say, if anybody wants to come in and give their opinion, give it. You know, I can't do that. Do you know why? You get some nerd will ring up. Some nerd will ring up and go, Ultra, I hate you. Put the phone down. Hey, Ultra, I just want to say you're an idiot. Put the phone down. Can't open up the lines to people because this is the mentality you're dealing with. Will Dillian Whyte sign? He has got 6 days. This is the only question that matters right now. This is the only question that matters right now in British boxing. This is the only thing that people should be focusing on. This is the only question that people should be asking. Will Dillian Whyte sign? He has got 6 days. I think he's got a bit more than that, actually. What do you think? I thought it was the 21st. Frank and Bob keep saying it's the 19th, but he's got till the 21st, didn't he? So let's give him 8 days. Shall we increase it? There you go. You've got 8 days. How about that? I'm being fair. He's got 8 days. If Dillian Whyte does not sign this contract, right? Honest question. If Dillian Whyte does not sign this agreement and does not agree to fight Tyson Fury, will we see apology videos from individuals who have claimed that Tyson Fury is a coward and is afraid to fight Dillian Whyte, and that Dillian Whyte is a can man? Will we be getting apology videos from those individuals? Given that Fury signed his end of the deal and Dillian Whyte hasn't. If Dillian Whyte has not signed by February 21st and the WBC remove him from the rankings, are we going to see apology videos? So the question I'm trying to ask here is, at which point do you admit you're wrong? That's the point I'm trying to get. Like, at which point do you just stop it and just say, do you know what? I was wrong. I'm just asking. Genuinely, like, I'm asking. At what point do you just say, do you know what? We got it wrong. You know? We called this fighter a coward. We said Dillian Whyte was the can man. We said this, we said that. Actually, do you know what? We got it wrong. In 8 days' time, if he hasn't signed this agreement, is that what we're going to see? Are we going to see these good and decent people make the video or come on social media or do whatever and say, we were wrong? Is that what we're going to see? Isn't that what any normal, decent person would do? If you called somebody a coward and they signed their agreement and your guy didn't sign his half, at that point, wouldn't you just apologise and say, we got it wrong? What do you guys think? Do you think that's what will happen? Or do you think it's going to be heads in the sand? Do you think it's going to be heads in the sand? Or what do you think it'll be? Heads in the sand, or will it be exclusive? Or will it be excuses? Marco, if you want to come on and give your opinion, you're welcome to come on, because I can actually trust you. So if you want to come on, Marco, let me know and I'll send you a link. Yo King, if you want to come on and give your opinion, Yo King, you can get a link. Richard from Twitter's never come on, but Richard, you can always get the link if you want it, Richard. If anybody else wants the link and wants to come and give their opinions, they're welcome to. But I'm asking, what's going to happen if Dillian doesn't sign? Are we going to get the apology video? I've apologised in the past. Can I ask you guys a question? Have I ever had a problem coming on this channel and saying, do you know what? I got that wrong. Have I ever had a problem doing that? Have I ever had a problem saying, do you know what? I got that wrong. I was wrong about that prediction. Do you remember when I said so-and-so was going to beat so-and-so? Yep, I was wrong. Yep, I was completely wrong. I got it completely wrong. Have I ever had a problem doing that? But why do they have a problem doing that? I mean, they're charging you money. They're charging you money. You're paying these people's mortgages. You're paying these people's rent, for fuck's sake. What's going to happen if Dillian doesn't sign? What's it going to be? I'm asking. I'll read out your comments. Is it going to be more excuses? Is it going to be more excuses? Because the excuses haven't stopped yet, have they? Right, Marco's going to be coming on in a minute. Toby Players says, if Dillian does in fact sign, I'd apologise and say I was wrong and I expect the same. Listen, I don't know if he'll sign or not. I have no idea. If I had to guess right now, will Dillian sign? I have no idea. I'm leaning towards the fight won't happen. If Dillian Whyte signs the fight Tyson Fury, I'll be happy. Brilliant. As a boxing fan, I want to see it. If Dillian Whyte beats Tyson Fury, which he can beat Tyson Fury, is it likely to happen? That's a different question. Can he beat Tyson Fury? Yes. In a boxing ring, these things happen. If Dillian Whyte wins and I still have a YouTube channel, I will make a video and I will say, congratulations to Dillian Whyte. The better man won on the night. Simple. What's wrong with doing that? So my question is, are we going to see the same from everybody else? That's all I'm asking. Are we going to see the same energy from other people? Or is it going to be heads in the sand? I'm going to avoid social media now. Is it going to be that? Is it going to be, well, I'm going to avoid social media for a couple of days and wait for it to die down? Is that what it's going to be? I think that's what it's going to happen if Dillian doesn't sign in a week's time. I think if Dillian doesn't sign next week, it's going to be heads in the sand. Heads in the sand. Bit like when DAZN didn't buy BT Sport. All of a sudden, radio silence. Andre Van Ruren says Dillian is purely greedy. That's the bottom line. He could have faced AJ when Miller pulled out. 5.5 million wasn't enough. Let's be honest, this is not the first time that Dillian Whyte has not had a purse bid result go his way and hasn't signed an agreement, is it? We all remember what happened in the Pulev fight. And that's what really, really makes me laugh about these people who are saying Dillian's the can man. Well, we know what happened with the Pulev fight. Dennis Baktov says, we will hear how they've spoken to Dillian and know why he didn't sign. That's a great shout. I can see that happening. That's a brilliant shout from Dennis Baktov. He says, we'll hear how they've spoken to Dillian and know why he didn't sign, but can't let us know. I'm willing to bet you're going to hear some bullshit about legal action. You can see this crap coming a mile away, can't you? It's the arbitration. Dillian can't sign because there's ongoing arbitration and he can't speak. You can see this stuff coming a mile away, innit? Instead of just manning up and saying, do you know what? I got it wrong. Just man up. Take the L. Got it wrong. Happens. They won't do it, will they? It's going to be, the arbitration. Dillian can't talk. I can't talk because it's the arbitration. There's a big legal case going on. You guys don't know what's going on, but I know what's going on. You can see this stuff coming a mile off. Oh, okay, we'll get Marco ready. Hold on. You get my headphones ready for Marco to come on. Anybody else want to pop on? If anybody else wants to pop on, let me know. 141 people in the chat. Marco's about to come on and give me his thoughts. I'm getting my headphones ready. Let me read some other comments. Let me ask you about Dillian being greedy. What do you guys think about, is Dillian being greedy or not? Just to clarify, because the numbers are going up here, yeah? 144 people. We're back to talking about Dillian Whyte. For those of you who've just joined us, here's the current state of play, right? Dillian Whyte has been offered, right? According to what Frank Warren and Bob Arum have said in this interview, they offered Andre, I can get you one after Marco. So Andre, if you just hold fire and wait till Marco's done, I will bring you in. Marco's here. Just before I bring Marco in, let me get my headphones ready. Let me just quickly give you an update of where we are in this chat. And if you want to join in and give your opinion, listen, give your opinion. I'm not going to argue with anybody. I don't care. All I do is give my opinion. I'm not here to argue with people and cuss people out. I never do that. And I never act tough or act like a tough guy or ask for people's addresses. Do you ever hear me do this stuff? Do you ever hear me start acting like a tough guy? Or give me your address? Or making 2-hour videos about other people on YouTube? Or challenging them to debates? What the fuck? I just give my opinion. Let me get this ready. Hold on. My headset ready? I believe we are ready to go. But yeah, let's get it on. Right, Marco. I can hear you nice and clear, Marco.
How you doing, bud?
I can hear you fine.
You good?
We've got 153 people here. Hit the like, hit the subscribe. Marco, let me just start you off quickly because I just want people who are joining to understand where we're at, Marco. Bob Arum and Frank Warren have said the following. If Dillian Whyte wanted to be involved with the promotion of the fight and the fight met certain targets and they did okay, they'd be happy to give Dillian Whyte some of the pay-per-view money, which he is not even entitled to. They won the purse bid. All he's entitled to is 20%. They've been willing to bend over and give him a slice of the pay-per-view money that he wasn't even obligated to get, right? From what I understand, I could be completely wrong. Guys, let me know. That's what I heard from the interview. I then heard something like Dillian wasn't happy with that. And so all that has now been scrapped, yeah? All that has been scrapped because Dillian wasn't happy with that. They've now told Dillian, if you don't want to turn up and promote the fight, that's fine. Just sign the agreement and turn up on fight night, Marco. That's what I've gathered from the interview with Frank Warren and Bob Arum. If anybody in the chat thinks I'm incorrect or I've got that wrong, please correct me and I'll be happy to correct for the record, Marco. He has now got between 6 and 8 days to sign this contract. Go, talk away. I'll mute myself.
How you doing? Look, I mean, when was I last on? I mean, we said this about 3 weeks ago, didn't we? 3 weeks ago that this was not going to happen.
2 weeks ago, Marco. Carry on.
2 weeks ago, yeah. I mean, look, it was never going to happen. They don't fancy it. That's what it really comes down to. Once White and AJ lose one more time, they're in big fucking trouble. Okay, there's no more big paydays once there's 6 losses between them. So they have to tread very carefully here. They have to get maximum profit out of the next 2 fights that they're most likely going to lose. And that's what you're seeing with White. He's dragging his heels. He's looking for, I think I've heard he's looking for 15 million, which in my opinion ain't gonna fucking happen. And AJ,
Sorry, did you just say 15 million?
That's what I'm hearing.
Why?
That he was
15
looking for
million?
15 million. Yeah. So 15 million. You might get that on the. I mean, what was the original? It was 7.5 million, wasn't it? 7.5
dollars
million.
in dollars. To be fair, that's in dollars, but he's getting that to turn up, just to turn up.
He's looking for upsides. He's looking for. I mean, if he wins the fight, I think he gets what 13 million or something like that.
He gets $11 million. So just to clarify, in terms of pounds, yeah, I don't know what that is in pounds. I think it's like £8 million. So I think how it works is in pounds, right? He gets 5 million just to turn up. He's under no obligation to promote the fight. According to Frank and Bob, if he doesn't want to promote the fight, he doesn't have to promote it. They have said, we've got Tyson Fury. He'll promote the fight by himself. If Dillian doesn't want to promote it, there's nothing we can do about that, right? So that's not even a deal breaker. So let's assume Dillian doesn't promote the fight, yeah? Dillian's going to get £5 million to step into a ring, right? For the maximum of 36 minutes work. So Dillian Whyte's going to be in the boxing ring for a maximum of 36 minutes. In those 36 minutes, he's going to get £5 million. If he wins the fight, Marco, like he says he will then get an additional something like 3 million on top of that, 2-3 million. So he'll then get 7 and 8 million. If he decides that he does want to play along with the promotion, right, there's a chance he could even get some back end on top of that. Carry on, Marco. Sorry.
No, but Ultra, well explained, mate. But listen, I mean, since White and Matchroom left Sky, I've noticed that you don't really the same kind of propaganda machine that they had with Sky Sports News, which is on in every pub, every hotel lobby, up and down the UK and Ireland. People don't really know about the fights anymore. So what kind of propaganda machine, what kind of media machine do Matchroom and White really have to promote a fight anymore? They have what? Twitter, YouTube, Instagram, the Zone. Could you really call that a propaganda machine? I don't really see what White brings to this on a financial aspect without the kind of backing of Sky. So if I don't think it's going to be much of a loss. Now it is a very bitter thing to do in a business sense, to just completely disregard your business partners, and they are in their business partners with Queensbury and Bob and Tyson at the minute. It's a very bitter thing to do, and it just shows me that the likes of Lou DiBella and Al Heyman and all who could not do business with the Hearns for years and years and years. It shows you the common denominator for me now, as to why these big fights couldn't be made.
Just to say, I want to stick on topic, but it's ironic you say that because Lou DiBella and Eddie Hearn have just failed to make Devin Haney versus George Kambosos for Undisputed.
I've been watching that. It's shocking.
Yeah, and it's a yet again, it's another situation where it's a big fight. It's a big fight involving Eddie Hearn, and all we hear about is contracts, emails, and term sheets. And it's another big fight that hasn't happened. Yeah. Splits. It's another fight that hasn't happened.
Kambosos, big fan of his. I keep hearing now about resume with Haney. Haney apparently has this fucking world class resume. Listen, Teofimo Lopez beat Lomachenko, and Kambosos beat Teo. So he has all the belts. He has the lion's share of the purse. Eddie Hearn's sending out Mickey Mouse purse splits and then he's calling everyone else a ducker. We're seeing this time and time and time and time again. Why the Hearns cannot make big fights? They're never. I had a discussion there with someone underneath the Frank Warren interview on IFL there this morning. About Hearn never being able to make mega fights. And the mega fights that he quoted to me was I said, name me these mega fights that Hearn's been a part of. He
Yeah.
said Froch Groves won, Callum Smith against Canelo, and AJ versus Klitschko. That's a 13-year career as a promoter. You're supposedly the biggest promoter in boxing, and those are the three mega fights that he could have named off the top of his head. That's embarrassing. That's absolutely shocking. The whole lightweight division. Sorry, go ahead, mate.
I just want to quickly butt in. I want to ask you, Dillian Whyte, Marco, what possible reasons can he have at this minute in time to not? I'm just trying to. Maybe there's. I'm sure there's things that Dillian knows that we don't know, right? But I'm trying to get it in my head now, right? The point of this video is I'm struggling to see how he cannot sign this agreement. So what I'm now trying to understand is, now that he's been told that he doesn't have to promote the fight, now that he's been told that they would be willing to give him a bit of the pay-per-view back end if certain conditions are met, what possible reasons can he now have next week for having not signed this agreement? Because Tyson Fury signed his half and Dillian hasn't signed his. What
It'll be
possible
money.
more reasons?
It'll be money. Like always, it'll be money. It'll put down to the split wasn't up to scratch. That they'll probably have a couple of problems with certain stipulations in the contract that MTK and Queensbury might have put in. I'd say the zone will be a problem. I mean, we already heard that quote off Dillian Whyte about production quality and wasn't being up to scratch on Queensbury cards. You're going to hear a laundry list of excuses now in the next couple of days. But for me, this can't go unpunished, mate. Can't go unpunished. This is what 6 or 7 times now Whyte has had a big chance to kind of fight on world level, and he hasn't done it. It's very. I'm not a fan of Matchroom. I'm not a fan of Whyte. I'm not a fan of AJ. For me, I'm too long in the tooth now. I've just watched it over and over and over and over again. I'm sick to fucking death, Ultra. I mean, we want these fights. I mean, even Kambosos and Haney. I mean, that's just a fucking great fight that we're going to get deprived of. Because
Absolutely.
as far as I'm concerned, Eddie's evolved. I reckon Whyte would fight Fury, to be honest. I truly believe he would. I just think there's people in the background there that just he up, and it's not going to happen because they don't feel like they're getting paid properly, basically. And it's sickening, Ultra. It really is.
So in closing, Marco, right? In closing, wrap up for us. And I'm going to try and get some other people on, not because you're not great, but I'm just trying to bring as many people on as I can. If you want to come on the show, if you send me an email to ultratechsports@gmail.com, send me a link. And if you're reasonable, like I said, just come on, give your opinion.
I'm with the kids here. Nice.
Yeah,
I'm with the kids
so
here,
just
though,
finish
so I
up.
can't really say much, but yeah, go ahead.
You can't really say much more, okay?
Go ahead, mate.
No, I was just going to say.
What were you trying to ask me?
No, it's fine. I was just going to ask. 6 days to go, Marco. Summarize it for us. Will Dillian Whyte sign by the 19th of Feb? Will we have a signed contract from Dillian?
We won't, and I tell you what, we definitely won't get this fight. And I tell you another thing, we won't get AJ versus Usyk. And I reckon, like I said in the chat there about 20 minutes ago, I reckon we won't get any of these fights until about maybe October, November 2022. And we're going to see AJ versus Whyte 2. And we're probably going to see, there's probably going to be some stipulation that Usyk can't fight Fury until whatever, God knows what date. I think we're going to get robbed of all these fights. And unfortunately, it's down to Matchroom as always. But look, just before I go, anyone in the chat that disagrees, please call in. Let us know what you think. I mean, we hear a lot of sensible people on this channel. Why don't we hear from the Matchroom fans, that are fucking flooding every comment section? Please let us know, why Whyte isn't signing and why he's saying radio silent. I keep hearing what a genius he is and what mind games he's playing. I mean, fuck me. Wake up, lads. Wake up. You are getting played like fiddles. But it is what it is. Listen, I think I think it's time now we just stop paying for the fucking DAZN pay-per-views and all, or the Matchroom pay-per-views and
And
DAZN
there
and
is
all. Stick them
just
where
to
it comes
clarify,
from.
just to clarify, Marco, DAZN came into the business and said that this is the end of pay per view. We've all seen the adverts of DAZN saying this is the end of pay per view. We've all seen the adverts with Canelo and Danny Jacobs and that kind of thing. Um, you know, destroying the pay per view TV or whatever. Guess what? After all of that talk, that DAZN's going to be the end of pay per view. DAZN are running pay per view, and apparently the talk is that the next two Canelo fights involving Bivol and and GGG will both be DAZN pay per views, as well as Anthony Joshua versus Usyk. So DAZN is doing pay per view. They've already
I,
got.
I tell you one thing as well. That GGG fight is fucking well past its sell-by date. I've no interest in that fight. GGG won the first fight, and he got fucking. The second fight was a draw in my eyes, but maybe you could make an argument that those fights have had their day. I have zero interest in that. Absolutely zero interest. As far now, I know Charlo has his problems, but I would fucking love to see that fight. That is a proper fight at 168. The Bivol fight again. I mean, Bivol's fine. He didn't look great against Richards. I'd love to see Petreviev against Canelo. Now that's a proper fight, but again, we're not getting real fights, and those two fights that you just mentioned are not pay-per-view fights. They just aren't. They're 70-30 fights, in my opinion, towards Canelo at least. GGG now is a spent force. He's what, 40 years old. It's
Yeah.
just not a great fight, but we're getting robbed ultra. We really are. I mean, boxing. I fucking love the sport. Being involved in boxing for years and years and years, but it's just fucking waning now. It's getting very, very boring now listening to all the tripe. And I think we're going to get robbed of all the big fights this year that we should get. Again, on paper, the lineup for the next few months, you think looks great. We're going to get White, Fury, we're going to get Usyk, Joshua, we're going to get all these fights. I'm telling you right now, I can't see any of them happening. I can just see spanners being put in the works. The usual spin doctors will be spinning away. I'm telling you, it's going to be a very disappointing year unless serious pressure is put under Matchroom, because they're depriving the fans of a lot of big fights now. And like you said, that Haney Cambosis one being one of the top of the list now. If we don't get that, that's another fucking shocker as far as I'm concerned. But anyway, Ultra, it's Sunday dinner here over at me nana's. The fucking kids are they're squalling here at the window, so I better get in. Listen, thanks as always for speaking the truth, mate. And I'll talk to you soon. All right.
All right, speak to you soon, my man. Have a good one. Okay, that's Marco. Andre Van Ruin, you need to email me because I emailed you. So, Andre Van Ruin, you need to email me. It's on the screen, ultratechsports@gmail.com. All you need to do is send me an email and I will reply to you with the link, and you are welcome to come on and give your opinions. If anybody else wants to come on and give their opinions, like I said before, the way we'll do it is we'll do it like a call-in show. So you just give your opinion, I'm going to listen. I'm not really going to sort of challenge you. I'm not really looking for a fucking back and forth debate. I'm not really looking for a war, because I know how these type of conversations end up, and I know how they end up, particularly on YouTube. So I'm happy to just let you speak your piece. I might, butt in here and there, but not looking for a big force. So, like I said, if people just want to come on and just like on any other calling show, if they want to spend 20, 30 seconds saying, Ultra, Dillian is going to take the fight. Ultra, Tyson is ducking Dillian. Dillian's going to sign next week. Ultra, blah, blah, blah. Brilliant. That's what I want to hear. Listen, all I want is for this fight to happen. And if Dillian Whyte signs, that would be fantastic. For us as boxing fans, that will be fantastic. We can finally see these two get in the ring and find out who is, oh my God, who is the better man. Andre, last chance. If you email me, I will send you the link. So that's it. Otherwise, mate, I can't help you out with that, unfortunately, with that. Or if you email me, I will send you the link. That's it. A lot of people liking what Marco has said in the chat. In the meantime, while we see if anybody else wants to pop on and just have a little natter back and forth. Let's have a look here. The kid's back says biggest payday for the fight he wanted. Now he's ducking what the F is going on. Well, as Marco says, it's going to be about money with Dillian, isn't it? He's going to feel that he's not getting enough money. But I mean, I suppose the question is, Eddie Hearn's bid was a good bid. I mean, if you understand, I'm not really up on purse bids, but if you understand that Eddie Hearn's bid when Tyson Fury was guaranteed 80% of the purse, that's a good bid that Eddie Hearn made. But it still wouldn't have got that much money. Does that make sense? I mean, if Eddie Hearn had won the bid, how much more money would Dillian Whyte have got? Not much more. Does that make sense what I'm saying? How much more would he have got? Maybe I'm wrong about that, but if Eddie Hearn's actually won his bid, how much would Dillian have got? Dillian would have got what? The same 6 million plus what he would have got pay-per-view. Yeah, it's not that much of a discrepancy. So I'm just trying to figure out at the minute. What's going on with that. That's what I'm trying to figure out. I'm just trying to figure out what's going on there. What's he waiting for? I'm not sure. He's waiting for more money. Would Dillian have made a huge amount more money if Eddie had won the purse bid? If Eddie's $32 million offer had come through? What was Eddie's offer? $32 million. So if Eddie Hearn's £32 million offer had come through, would that mean that Dillian would have made a hell of a lot more money than he's going to make now with Frank Warren? Those of you who are into the business of boxing, which I'm not really into, but I prefer to actually talk about the fights. I don't know. I don't know, but I'm keen to talk about it. Dennis Baktov says, since 2018, the only year Whyte wasn't offered a route to a title was 2020 when he got sparked by Povetkin. Volts is asking, no, it's Marco, it's not. Let's have a look here. This is interesting. I disagree with this, but we'll read it out anyway. Dillian ain't greedy, he's scared. And trying to price himself out like he did with the 5 million AJ offer. I don't believe Dillian Whyte's scared at all of Tyson Fury. I think Dillian Whyte fight him. I don't think Dillian Whyte's scared of anybody at all, actually. I think, like I said, I think you put all of them in a room, Dillian, Tyson, AJ, and Wilder, all in a room, and say last man out. Last man out's Dillian Whyte, 100%. He's the toughest of them all, in my opinion. So I don't think he's scared of any of them. But I wonder if he has got people in his head telling him things. Because let's be honest, right? The people on Dillian's side don't want to see Queensberry make any money out of this fight, do they? That's the bottom line, isn't it? Like, it's in the interest of certain people to not see Queensberry make any money. So I'd imagine they'd be filling Dillian's head with a load of nonsense right now about Dillian, you're going to get screwed. There's not enough money in the fight. I'd imagine that's what's going to happen. They're going to fill his head with nonsense, and that's the reason why you've got people like Dean White who are coming out and saying things like, but it's not a Matchroom show, is it? And no one does it like Matchroom. It's bizarre, isn't it? I mean, doesn't exactly engender any confidence. Right, Andre has emailed me. Andre, I have sent you the link, so we'll be getting you on shortly. There you go, Andre. Andre has been sent the link, so we'll wait for you to pop on and give your view. TMT says, after getting protected for years, Joshua and White now have to step up. And you know what it is? Like I said before, I'm so surprised nobody's really pushing on this Anthony Joshua 5 million. And I listen, I think AJ will fight anybody, but there is a bit of a contradiction there. No one's really pushing on Anthony Joshua to ask, did you ask for 5 million more to step aside at the last minute? Because that's what's being said, isn't it? They're saying that the reason why is because AJ asked for 5 million extra. But Andre's here. Hello, Andre. Welcome to the show. Hope you're doing okay.
Hi there, Ultra. How are you? I'm from Cape Town, South Africa.
Not too bad, brother. Okay, I'm going to mute myself. Will Dillian sign the contract? Give us your thoughts.
You know what, Ultra? I mean, this is more a soap opera than a sport or boxing. I'm sick of it, just like everyone else of you. I mean, I followed boxing for 35 plus years. Always been an avid boxing fan. And I saw in the early 80s and the late 70s, you never had to sit with this nonsense like this. People decided to fight and they got the deal done and they did the business. But I'm in two minds about him fighting. So the way I see it is this. So where else would Dillian get this money for another fight? as much as he hates that there might be no back-end money, as much as he hates that he's not getting 15 million or whatever as he wanted, where else could he get this money if he never took it? Surely he couldn't self-sabotage himself like this to really screw himself over. There's one other alternative that I've thought of. I know it might sound a little far-fetched and a bit conspiratorial, but have you thought about this, Ultra? You know the hatred that Eddie Hearn has for obviously Frank Warren and the guys there, and as well as Bob Arum. What about if somewhere behind the scenes, okay, they've made some form of deal where Hearn has said to him, listen, yeah, let's sabotage this show, knowing that they won the purse bid, knowing that it's the biggest fight Warren and Queensberry would have presented for years to come. I'll sort you out on another fight, even if it's not a title defense. But this guy is so mental, you'd give up some of his own money, Ultra, just to screw Frank Warren over. What about something like that, where he really just wants to sabotage Warren and say to Dillian on the side, I will pay you this money plus some, but help me sabotage that this fight doesn't take place.
Wow, that's some. And you know what? To be honest, I mean, I don't know what to say about that. I don't think it's not out there. I don't think what you're saying is out there at all. Let me ask you, in terms of what you said in the beginning about what other fights that Dillian could get for that kind of money, the honest answer is I have no idea. I mean, maybe Anthony Joshua fight. Maybe he could earn more for an Anthony Joshua fight. The only problem with that, Andre, is he's been down this road with Anthony Joshua already before. He turned down $5.5 million before. Maybe, DAZN. I mean, DAZN have one of the richest owners in the UK. I think one of the richest men in Britain owns DAZN. Maybe he's willing to lose even more money and plow money into it. But the point is, Andre, to a point, you do raise a good point, because Anthony Joshua versus Dillian Whyte on Sky would have got more promotion and would have got more buys than anything on DAZN, because DAZN at the minute is just an app, yeah? And Sky has Premier League football and all this kind of... Sky is a massive channel and DAZN's just an app. So I have to agree with you there, Andre. That would be interesting to see that. Who else could Dillian Whyte fight for that kind of money? And if he's going to be fighting on DAZN, which at the minute is just an app, yeah, with no TV, no major football, no major other sports to pull people on, how much money could he make elsewhere? Sorry, Andre, carry on. It's an interesting point you raised.
No, I would just say, Ultra, that Eddie Hearn is honestly, he's such a megalomaniac that he would honestly give up some of his own finances to do Frank Warren in. I wouldn't be surprised if that is somewhere behind the scenes. And the other thing is, Ultra, just to prove actually how incredibly greedy Dillian Whyte is, what no one's factoring in here, is that just remember one thing. He's getting his biggest payday ever, right? Number one. Number two, he's not having to pay any promoter a 20% cut. So he's getting out more than a normal boxer would. And he's self-managed. So he's only paying his trainer and his training camp. So he's even more greedy than we realize, because he doesn't have those added expenses compared to a normal fighter. No manager, no promoter. And he's still not happy with it. So I'm not sure what a manager gets. I know promoters 20%. Let's call it 10% for a manager. So he's 30% generally better off than any other fighter would ordinarily be. But the money's still not enough for him. That shows how greedy this guy is.
Andre, I think by the way, great call, by the way. Everybody's rating your call. Do you think he wants it, Andre? Do you think deep down he wants it? Do you think he believes he can win?
No, I really do not think he believes he can win. That I can honestly say. I think you know the old saying, empty vessels make the most noise. So when he was calling out Deontay Wilder and all those guys and Fury a few years back, he was all big bravado. But, if you really look at it, he's honestly not a good boxer. I watch all the fights here in South Africa on SuperSport. We get all of them. And, since it's on the zone, I've watched it. So, I follow all this stuff closely. Really, I've always rated Dillian as being incredibly slow. He's lethargic. The guy ponders around the ring like, he's got no drive in him. He got put down by Rivas. He got put down by Joseph Parker. He's been touch and go with Chisora. I really do feel this guy's ridden the gravy train with Sky's pay-per-views, and he's fallen with his arse in the butter, as we would say here in South Africa. And he's had a free ride working with Eddie Hearns over this time. And I just do believe that this would be the only one that Eddie Hearns not involved with, okay? So he's got no cover man yet. He's got no cover man to cover up for him like with Rivas when he popped there and he never told Rivas. He's got no inside guy for judges. He really does feel like an island. So I think he's running scared, Ultra. He's running scared. He knows he can't win, and he's got no, call it a wingman like he would have in Eddie Hearn. So he's shit scared.
Andre, if he doesn't take this fight, what do you think, if he wasn't to take this fight, what do you think the excuses would be for not taking the fight? What do you think he would say? What do you think those people out there who have been accusing other fighters of being cowards and things like that, what are you predicting? If next week comes along, if we get to the 19th of February and Dillian Whyte has still not signed this contract, what are you expecting that the narrative is going to be? What are you expecting the excuses are going to be, Andre?
I firmly do believe, number one, no doubt about it, the narrative is going to be the ongoing arbitration. Okay, because remember, they're relying so heavily on that, thinking that they're going to get higher than 20%. But as everyone said before, and we all agree, that's got absolutely nothing to do with Fury. That was way before his time, and that's between him and the WBC. So, Fury, by right, as you said a few weeks ago, should not be penalized financially for his issue with the WBC. So I also can't see Mauritius Suleiman coughing up a few million rand unless he's forced by law to do so to pay Dillian. So he's going to throw the arbitration story, and he's going to say, well, he thinks it's in his best interest to wait it out because by that way he could get paid more. Second of all, I think the narrative is going to be that he does believe he's been shortchanged on this fight, and he should be earning a lot more than he is going to be earning. Never mind that it's a record payment, and never mind that Frank Warren and Bob Arum was a higher bid than Eddie Hearn. So Eddie Hearn was the big mouth saying he's going to get paid what he's deserved. But with Eddie Hearn's bid, Dillian would have got about 2 million less. So I think those are going to be the two things that are played, Ultra. It's going to definitely be the ongoing arbitration and things aren't settled yet, etc. And then he's going to throw the situation that he's been shortchanged. I personally can't see him taking this fight because I think the humiliation in the ring is going to be too much for him. He's very, very greedy, but he's not very brave.
Absolutely brutal. Andre, just before you go, I have to ask you one more thing. Just before you go, 170 in the chat. Andre's bringing in the Andre's carrying the show right now. 170 in the chat. Please hit like, please hit subscribe. Andre, will Anthony Joshua sign to fight Alexander Usyk? And your opinions on why this rematch clause, which was activated, Andre, October of 2021, and this fight, this rematch, still has not been done.
Look, Ultra, that's another pet peeve of mine, to be honest with you. First of all, I really do believe, just on the Anthony Joshua side, I've always maintained it from the day I started watching him. He also fell with his arse in the butter, getting that WBC defense against that joker who couldn't box to save his life, and then he won the title, and we all know it progressed from there. I really do think that Anthony Joshua is an absolute manufactured champion. He's absolutely manufactured. As far as, you can just watch that guy. He gets hit once. He can't take it. He's stumbling around. It's not just with Ruiz. It's happened a couple. He's got no legs. Muscles, as we all know very well, does nothing for you in boxing because it chews up oxygen. And the biggest thing with Joshua, he's got no heart. Be Fury as he may with he does irritate the shit out of me sometimes, I'll be honest with you, with his big mouth, etc., and his contradictions. He does. Don't get me wrong. But one thing I can't fault that guy for, he's got balls of granite and the heart of a lion. So that I can never take away from that guy. So if Wilder put him down in total, what was it, 4 times in the 3 fights, and he got up every time with that hammer of Thor, how the hell is Joshua going to put him down permanently? And how is Dillian Whyte going to put him down permanently? It's not going to happen. So just getting back to your question with regards to Anthony Joshua, I really do think, think about it. When was that fight? October. So it's October. The fight hasn't yet been signed. They apparently activated the clause immediately. Think about this, Ultra. When he activated the clause with Ruiz, okay, the rematch clause. Look how quickly that all went into motion. Look how quickly a date was made, and that went, from strength to strength quickly. Yet with Usyk, there's been no urgency to do the fight. So Anthony Joshua is totally damaged goods as far as I'm concerned. I cannot tell you 100% if he will take that fight. I think he's still, he's so unsure of himself. Where have you in your life heard a world champion is walking to the ring and asking people in the crowd how he should box? He's mandatory. It's madness. So I purely do believe he might throw the dice and take it. I say it's 50-50. I'm leaning towards he's going to take it, throw the dice, because he knows he'll be way in the back of the queue to ever get a defense again. And remember, it might not only be his decision, as much as Hearn says he's his boss, but I really do believe, remember, Hearn will lose a lot of money if he doesn't take that fight from a commission point of view. So I think he will take it. There's no way he'll win it. I truly believe that Usyk will knock him out this time, and he will be done for good, and his career will then be over. And I think that's why I try to get Fury to, in actual fact, do the Usyk fight, because remember, he basically was going to be doing his dirty work that he couldn't accomplish, and then make a ton of money, fighting Fury for undisputed and hope for the best. But once again, just like Dillian Whyte, as every one of Eddie Hearn's fighters are, and they obviously learned from the best in Eddie Hearn, he was greedy. So he went that step too far and asked for $5 million extra on the last day. $15 million wasn't enough. Greed always gets you at the end, Ultra, and it sealed Joshua's fate for Fury not taking that fight, and it's going to seal Dillian's fate. And I think at the end of the day, Fury beats all of them. I'm a bit concerned he's looking so bulky and overweight, so I hope he hasn't taken his eye off the ball. I'm also wondering why Sugar Hill's not there yet, but maybe he hasn't officially started the camp. But I've got no time for Joshua. He's a manufactured robotic champion, no heart, no guts, limited skill, and he does not in any way compare to Fury's heart of a lion and balls of steel.
Andre, you absolutely nailed it. Thanks very much for coming on. Everyone's going to want you to come back on.
Anytime. It's great chatting. I love boxing. I love watching your shows, and all the best to you guys there. And it's nice and warm here in Cape Town, South Africa. Hope to chat again. All the best to you guys.
All the best. That's Andre there from Cape Town. Listen, we do get people coming in from all over the place there, as you can see. You've got the great Andre. That was absolute fire there. And those are Andre's opinions. I don't agree with Andre on everything there, but listen, all we ask for is opinion. Andre's coming on. Everyone's giving the fire symbols there. We definitely be bringing Andre back, I think. Andre the Giant, Joe calls him. There you go. He's already got his nickname there. So what we got? We got Abdullah the Butcherer, Andre the Giant. Where's Daryl at? Does anybody else want to call in? No need to be afraid of anything. As you heard there, I just let Andre talk. I just let him have his appointment. I asked him a few questions. I didn't butt in. I didn't start trying to push it or back and forth or whatever. I just let him come on and give my opinion. If there's anybody out there who thinks that, Dillian's, is right to not sign the contract, if anybody thinks Dillian's right to hold out for more money, if anybody's got any other just opinions, as long as they're respectful, feel free. But yeah, I'm willing to wait on just a little bit longer in case anybody wants to chat. You can let me know if you want to chat. Just say Ultra, give me the link, or you can just email me at ultratechsports@gmail.com. We'll go for a little bit longer. 160 in the chat. Please hit the like button. Let's have a look. 115 likes. If you can get the likes up just a little bit more. 162, 115 likes, a few more likes, and hopefully, yeah, there's a few more callers. I'm looking to get in one more caller if possible. That's what I'm looking to get. I'm looking to get in one more caller if possible. So, is anybody in the chat? It's always the same people watching. We have no problem getting people to view this channel. I mean, it's absolutely unbelievable. We have no problem getting people to view. I mean, for us, for a channel of our size to be doing 160 concurrent lives at 4:30 on a Sunday afternoon, we are punching way above our weight. So yeah, Mothusi says Andre going off on AJ, manufactured and robotic champion. Andre is a mad mountain. Granule Sack says playing games. If you want a world title shot, just go for it. I agree with that. Just trying to see if anybody else wants to call in for one more final call. Lines are open if you want to call in and give your opinion. Where's Expert Genius? Fucking Expert Genius been asking to come on the show for like friggin' weeks and weeks and weeks. And then one time we're looking for callers, we can't get Expert Genius on. Samuel Harrison says, only just joined. Did you see the video of Joshua rolling a tortilla like a joint? No, I have not. Marco agrees with Andre. I think most people are agreeing with Andre. Joe wants to jump on. Joe, send me an email and you can jump on. Yeah, Joe was great last time. Just had a bad connection. Yeah, absolutely jump on, Joe. Hit me up on email. See, this is how you guys don't get it right. Once you email me and I have my email, then when we're going live, I can send you the links and say, look, we're going live at X and X time. If you're interested, jump on and wait and see. I can talk for a short while. So, Joe, email me at ultratechsports@gmail.com. I will send you the link and Joe will come on and Joe will give his opinion. So we're getting Joe on. Does anybody else want to come on? Let me know. I tell you what, I'll tell you the person I'm looking to get on quickly. While we're waiting for Joe, it's Ryan from Box Talk. Is someone that I've been talking to, and I've been looking to get Ryan on now. So I'm hoping we can get Ryan on for our Khan and Brook. For those of you who remember, Box Talk was originally Ryan Rayson and Adi Oladipo. We all know the big success that Ade's had, signing for DAZN and doing these things. Ryan has always been my guy from day dot. Yeah, Ryan has always been my guy. Yeah, from day dot. And Ryan is one of the reasons why this channel started. Well, hopefully, if he comes on, we'll get to talk about that story and the story involving that. But yeah, for those of you who used to watch Box Talk, which at one point was I would say, easily the number one boxing show in the UK on a Sunday. I mean, this show was living proof that you just did not need subscribers to build a quality channel that had huge amounts of influence. You know, you did not need subscribers or large amounts of subscribers to build a channel like that. And you can just see here, look, this is my man Ryan Rayson with Adi Oladipo. There's Spencer Fury. We've already had Spencer Fury on the show. Hopefully, like I said, we can get my light-skinned brother from another mother, Ryan Rayson, also on the show. As you can see him there with Adi Oladipo there. Ryan knows a lot about boxing. He's been in the ring, he's sparred, and he's a tough man. So when Ryan comes on, need to be on our P's and Q's when Ryan comes on, because you know Ryan doesn't play games. Ryan's not one of these. Ryan's not like me. Ryan's not one of these YouTube guys like me who likes to come on and talk a hot game. Ryan really is about that game. he's really about that game. So I'm gonna have to be on my best behavior if he comes on, yeah, because Ryan's really about that game, man. He's not like me, man. He's really about it, yeah. And so is Ade as well. Right, Joe has been sent the link. Joe, we're waiting for Joe to come on. Joe's just been sent the link. Let's have a look. So that's who's coming on. Look at this man. This man is a tank, bro. Look. What do you know about Ryan from Box Talk? Bro, it would be an honor to get this guy on. Like, I've been talking to this guy on and off for years. And he's one of the big influences on why this channel started up. So What better way to go full circle, yeah, than to go back to where it all started? Yeah, what better way to go full circle and then go back to where it all started? Yeah, and that's why now we're talking about calling it a day, because we're kind of going full circle, aren't we? We're going back to the homeland, yeah, before we call it a day. Now, just waiting for Joe to come in. The topic for those, I can't believe we've still got nearly 170 people in here. The topic is, will Dillian Whyte sign this effing contract? He has got 8 days to sign it. Listen, we're banging the drum on this. It's a very, very big topic at the minute in British boxing. It's a big topic in world boxing. 8 days to go. Sorry, 6 days. Between 6 and 8 days, depending on what you guys believe. Will Dillian Whyte sign the contract? And we're also talking about what are the excuses going to be if he doesn't sign the contract. Joe is here. Joe is joining us. Joe, it sounds like you're on a decent link for a change.
Yeah.
Oh my God, Joe, you sound crystal fucking clear. Like HD
lovely.
sound. Jesus Christ, before it sounded like you were, dogging in the back of a Poundland car park or something. Okay, Joe. Right, I'm going to mute myself. You know what we're talking about in this show. You give your opinions, and I hand over to you.
Yeah, just quickly, things got out of the way. Firstly, I'm actually sorry about my connection last time because I listened to it back and it was full on ear rape. I'm dropping weight at the moment for summer, so I was on a jog at the time. It's probably the most retarded thing to do, to be honest. But anyway, I also just wanted to quickly talk about one thing that South African fella, was it Andre, picked up on with AJ.
Andre the Giant. Yeah, pick up on
Talking
that first. Go for it.
Yeah, talking about him being manufactured, and in the background you had up the IFL interview thumbnails, and if you look at those thumbnails with all right, you got things like, there's one where it's like, why is everyone on my case, or something like that, and I just feel like AJ in a different era with different handlers, he could have actually been so much better, and I feel like he's he's been very fortunate to be handled so well by Eddie Hearn in terms of his career management earlier in his career. But in terms of his potential as a boxer, he's been, I don't know what the term is. He's been brought up with.
Do you think he's been mollycoddled? Is that what you're trying to say?
Yeah, essentially.
He's been handled with kid gloves, yeah.
And it's more than that. I was actually going to say we always have to mention the fact that a lot of these AJ fanboys they just absolutely fucking love it. Like they would bow for AJ any day of the week. And I just want to make the point that essentially, these fans actually, I think, are a bad thing for him. And a lot of these other boxers who get a huge amount of fanboys, especially coming up.
I agree with you. Carry on. I agree. Carry on.
With reference to Tyson Fury, if you think back to Tyson Fury's career, just pre-Klitschko, when he was, I think he fought Christian Hammer just before, and he put on an absolute show. But regardless, he still had so many people saying this guy's going to get fucked by Klitschko. Like, smart money was to put money against Fury. He was not the favorite on pretty much everyone's predictions. So it's kind of I think helped him a lot, because after he actually beat Klitschko, he had been doubted the whole of his career on the way up. And now he knows how to deal with all these toxic bastards online, and all these sorts of people.
That's actually a great point. Carry on. Carry on.
Yeah. And like, if we then think back to AJ's career, a point that I've heard you, Ingram, a lot of people make is the fact that when was AJ ever not the favorite in a fight up until very recently? But this fight against Usyk is perhaps the first time. He has always been the big favorite. So he's had this fantastic virtuous cycle at the time, which goes, he has fans who say he's fantastic. They line up an opponent and build up the opponent to be something that he's not, something like a Joseph Parker is, or Takam. They're set to be the next big thing. AJ knocks them down with the help of, he either has really good scorecards or what have you. He's still a fantastic boxer and everything, but he's always the favorite. He's always the house fighter. He's always going to win in Britain. And then after that, it goes back to the fanboys saying AJ's the GOAT, and then it comes in this virtuous cycle over and over again. And it's, I think, the exact reason why, because we know how changeable boxing fans are. It's the exact reason why, as soon as Andrew Ruiz won, we saw such a massive shift in temperament with AJ from this confident, this confident character who can take on the world to someone who's really not sure of himself and his personality's going all over the shop. And the same again with Usyk. It's because suddenly he's got people on his case. And why is everyone on my fucking case? Anthony Joshua.
Let me butt in, because I think you're making a fantastic point. Let me just butt in and elaborate on that, because I actually think what the point you're making is fantastic. And I don't think, if people actually listen, if you've got 140 in the chat, please hit like, please hit subscribe. For those of you who are new, right, Joe isn't having a go at Anthony Joshua, but Joe's raising a point that we've raised on here actually a few times with his fan base, right? Problem with Anthony Joshua, right, is that he's had it. I wouldn't say, you can't say he's had it easy, because he's been through a very, very tough background, and he's built himself up into being something from a very, very difficult situation. We all know Anthony Joshua had problems outside of the ring, and he's come and he's made something of himself, and he should be given credit for that. And I've always given him credit for that. But the point that I'm trying to make, and the point what Joe's trying to make here, is the problem with a toxic fan base, like the one Anthony Joshua has, is they always play or put unrealistic expectations on Anthony Joshua, mainly because they are vicariously living through this big, pumped up bodybuilder, aren't they? They look at him, they look at his, in my opinion, they look at him subconsciously, they look at his big muscles, they look at his physique, they wish they were like him, right? I think we all do deep down. They wish they were like him, they wish they were built like him. And so they kind of do this projection, don't they? They project all their hopes and wishes all onto Anthony Joshua. And it's AJ will do anything, and AJ will destroy Wilder in a round, and AJ will beat up everybody, and he'll knock this guy out, and AJ will knock that guy out, and AJ's a throwback fighter, and he's not scared of anybody, and he could do this. It's almost like, when these little kids used to watch Hercules when they were young, right? Or they used to watch, what was it? Hercules and Xena Warrior Princess. And these guys actually believed Hercules was a real character who could actually take down dragons. And these guys actually really buy into it, right? And I agree with you. When, he has problems living up to those expectations, which is why I believe he has anxiety. I honestly believe, as someone who suffers from anxiety very badly, I believe he has anxiety. I believe he has, someone said to me the other week, Ultra, I think Anthony Joshua was on medication for anxiety. It wouldn't surprise me if he was. There's obviously things that are going on behind the scenes, and there are obviously things that are going on before fight time, Joe. And those are the reasons why he started talking about, needing to be with a coach who's going to, positively reinforce his mind, give him, what was he asking for? Joe, speeches. He was asking for positivity speeches and positive thinking and stuff like that. Because he isn't sure of himself, really. And I think, like I said, his promoter and I think the fan base around him just put too much pressure on him. Sorry, Joe, carry on. Carry on with that, sorry.
Yeah, what's that John Lennon song? Is it Think for Yourself? I think this is what AJ really needs. He needs some John Lennon. He needs some Think for Yourself, because he's got the key turned in his back. And, someone's put 50p in him and watched him go to work every time. Because he's got no consistency whatsoever. I'm not going to just start, just absolutely chatting waffle. We all know about this, the dichotomy of Professor AJ versus Femi Hoover and all this. But, it's tiring, to be honest. He's got such a split personality. But yeah.
What do you think about Whyte then? Is he going to sign it or not? What do you think?
What do
you think about the money?
I think he'd be an absolute. I'm not massive on boxing business. I quite like boxing history. I quite like watching boxing full stop. But I'm pretty clueless on the business side of it. But what I will say is, I think I've heard a few people now make the case for him not fighting Fury and fighting AJ because it would be more money, and then going on to fight Fury for undisputed once he's fought Usyk. And I think if there's one thing we've learned over the last couple of years, is that these fucking plans don't work. Just take the fucking money. It's basic fucking economics.
That sounds like a pyramid scheme, doesn't it? You know those pyramid schemes, Joe, where they say to you, listen, you're going to make all this money. So all you got to do is you've got to recruit someone. Yeah. You've got to recruit someone. And then if they recruit someone, and then if they recruit someone, and then if they recruit someone, then you make all this money. And it's all Whyte's got to do is, you've got to duck out of a fight with Fury for, $7 to $11 million US and the WBC ring and lineal championships. Duck out of that fight and then go and fight AJ and make even more money. And then if you beat AJ, then you go and fight Usyk. And then if you beat Usyk, it's like a box's answer to a fucking pyramid scheme. Carry on.
Yeah, I was going to say, look, I don't know if anyone's ever told Dillian about this, but there's this incredible thing where you can win loads and loads of money doing this and that and this and that. The odds of everything falling into place for him is tantamount to fucking zero, right? He's like, this isn't going to happen if he goes for this. And it's basic economics. It's basic economics. If you can have money now versus money then, money now is worth so much more than money then in terms of taking business decisions. You pick what you are guaranteed to get rather than what is just potentially on the table. But I think with Whyte, I mean, obviously he doesn't understand those sorts of things. And frankly, I think he's got so many people, probably people like Eddie, who we already know Eddie's very good at clouding things over and making them seem like people are going to make huge amounts of money, but in actuality, they're going to get Dave Allen and, you know, thrown out on their arse. So I think he may well have all sorts of people around him who are struggling. And it seems like something that we're saying quite a lot about the company that people keep. It seems it's a bizarre time for boxers, because we're moving into an era now where they have more power than ever in their negotiations. Quite clearly, like it's becoming more and more oriented towards what the boxers want to do, and we're finding out something incredible, that a lot of them are fucking, like, if they're not stupid, they're at least not versed in business. Like, no shit, they're a boxer, you know. So
yeah, but hold on a minute. He's got Dillian Whyte by his side, and Dillian Whyte's obviously Businessman of the Year. Let me just quickly say this: if he doesn't take this fight, right? Do you think? Look, I mean, what do you think the reaction will be? Do you think he'll be able to live it down if he doesn't sign for this fight in the next 7 days, or do you think that the IFL TV Eddie Hearn Brigade will come out and turn it around for him, and people will be willing to? Some of the stuff, Joe, that I've seen online, I've seen people on Twitter. Twitter is full of morons, we know that. I have seen people on Twitter. I've seen one guy say to Dillian Whyte, "Dillian, I've been to your last 3, 4, 5 fights, right? And I've paid for you on pay-per-view. If you do not sign for this fight with Tyson Fury, I will never watch you. I will never pay for a single ticket of any of your fights, or I'll never pay for pay-per-view ever again." And what the earth is Anthony Joshua doing on thing? We'll get up in a second. What is Anthony Joshua doing? Hold on. Someone's just sent that to me. Let me get that up. But carry on, yeah. Do you think he'll be able to live it down? Is it? Yeah.
Is it? Wait, no. Is it him? Is it the AJ thing where he's rolling the spliff out of a taco, or whatever it is?
What is he doing? Like, this guy's
Have you seen
mad.
that?
Look, look at the caption. When you use skills from your younger days.
Yeah.
Can I just say something genuinely, right? Honestly, people don't understand, yeah? As a POC, it upsets me to see this stuff. Because when you're a young brother, and you made it out of a tough I'm not from no hood. I'm from Sesame Street. I'm not from no hood, yeah, at all. I'm not a tough guy at all. But when you see dudes that come out of tough situations, yeah, when you see dudes that come from tough backgrounds, yeah, and you see them make something of themselves and make themselves into multi-millionaires, right? You want to see them stop promoting that kind of lifestyle. Like, Anthony Joshua no longer lives a gangster life. Anthony Joshua no longer pushes weight. And Phil B says, "You man always moaning." Phil, feel free to jump on. It's not a problem. As long as you're not rude to me or cussing me out, you can come on and give your opinion. You man always moaning. I'm just giving my opinion. I mean, to see this man here billing a zoot out of, what is that he's got on his plate? It looks like he's got fried egg. He's got fried egg, peppers, and pork. Am I right? He's got eggs. He's got boiled eggs on that plate. It looks like he's got some form of pork. It looks like he's got cucumbers and shredded pepper. And this man is videoing himself. This man's a multi-millionaire worth hundreds of millions. And he is filming himself, billing up a zoot out of eggs, peppers, ham, and a taco. And he thinks he looks good. Like, we all know he's got a videographer on pay, right? We know that. He's got a videographer on pay. The videographer who he's paying money to, who's filming him doing this shit, is telling him, "Great job, AJ. Brilliant job, AJ. Brilliant job." That's what they're telling this dude. They're telling this dude that he looks good. Like, AJ thinks he's representing for his people when you use skills from your younger days.
Yeah. No, that's
sorry, Joe. I just had to give my opinion. Carry on.
No, I couldn't agree more. And it's more. Do you know what it is for me as well? Listen. All right. For me, it's more than color as well. It's not just the people who are, in those sorts of. AJ, yeah. All right, I live out in the country, but AJ has such a massive pull here. Everyone local to me, they're you know the sort of people you describe where they stick on the chase and eat a pot noodle. They shop at Tesco's and all of this sort of and then they switch on the Matchroom, they switch on the DAZN and all that. And they watch on the Matchroom cards. That is exactly where I live. Pretty much all the people I live around absolutely love AJ, even still. And where I live, there's no industry. Yeah, pretty much. It's all gone, which means our farming's down and everything. So it means basically there's a load of poor white blokes who've got absolutely fuck all prospects, loads of them on drugs. And they watch people like AJ, and it's a role model for them too. It's not just people in big cities and everything like this. Like, he's a shit role model all around. It's actually a big deal. These people watch AJ and clap like a seal, thinking it's fucking hilarious, but like it's actually fucking pathetic, to put it simply.
All right,
but, yeah.
Joe. Let's wrap up, and then I'm going to see if I can get somebody else on, and I'm going to call it a day. Big Joe, right? Big Joe. Yes or no? 6 days time. Are we going to have this fight signed? Yes or no? And obviously a little bit more than that, but
not a fucking clue. I'm gonna guess yes, but it's going to drag out even further.
That's a good shout. So you think it will eventually get signed, but it could drag out? Look, who's to say that the WBC won't put out some kind of extension? Or you think years? So you think not this time, but down the line in years' time? Or do you think?
No. I think it will be next fight, but it will take age. Or if it's not next fight, there'll be Fury will fight someone fucking atrocious like Mahmoud Char. I think he was. There was one prospect. Yeah. I'm astonished. One last thing. I just want to say I'm absolutely astonished with Whyte. The fact that I think he had a kid when he was 13 and a load of other kids. I'm astonished he's had so many kids because his pull-out game is second to none. His pull-out game is fantastic.
We haven't heard about his shoulder, Joe. Joe, we haven't heard about his shoulder. That shoulder that he injured against Wilding. Apparently he was in excruciating pain. We haven't heard a word about that shoulder yet.
Yeah, I was going to hold on to it. That'll be coming out soon, I reckon. I reckon that'll come out soon.
All right, Joe. Peace out, brother. You're welcome on anytime, man. Peace out, my brother. Peace out. Joe there. Right. Joking liking Joe. You guys like Joe's pull-out game comment. Listen, we're going to... the lines are open. Like I said, I'm not looking to beef or argue. I'm just going to go on mute. And you can, as long as you're not cussing me out or calling people names or just give your opinion on the boxing. That's what I'm keen to do on this channel. Do you understand? I'm not keen to get into the whole stupid ass YouTube beef or any. I don't care about any of that. All I want to do is talk about the actual boxing and why these fights are not happening. If you're interested in quickly calling in and giving your opinion for 30 seconds, if you look, the link to the show has been pinned to the thing. So you're welcome to do so. 146 viewers, 132 likes. Thank you very much. Please continue to hit the like button. Please continue to subscribe. The number's actually been really good, actually, for 4 o'clock on a Sunday. And it is what it is. In the meantime, while we're going to see if anybody else wants to talk about Whyte, does anybody want to talk about this Anthony Joshua thing as well? Does anybody have I just find it so ironic. We just had Andre call in and absolutely tear Anthony Joshua for shreds, right? And say, look, the guy's a manufactured champion and a broken man. And I'm not joking. Next minute, this is a while ago. Oh, my bad. This is 10th. This was a couple of days ago, though. So I've just seen this. I'm a little bit late on this. I thought this was new, but this is just a couple of days ago. But a couple of days ago, Anthony Joshua, billing a zoot, out of his own dinner. I don't know what this man's doing. Like I said before, I question this man's mindset, Does it mean he's going to lose the rematch with Usyk? No, it doesn't. It doesn't, in my opinion. It doesn't. I still make him the favourite because he boxed so terribly the last time. But you see Anthony Joshua doing this stuff, and I have to say, big question marks. And it's not just this. It's this, but it's this in conjunction with the other stuff he's been coming out with. You know what I'm saying with Anthony Joshua? This has been now the latest in just a long line of bizarre behaviour. This was the interview where he claimed he looked up to Big Meech and Larry Hoover. There was that. And now this man is now billing zoots out of a wrap. The man's got a pork, egg, and pepper wrap, and he's billing zoots out of it. And you look at him actually like this man actually licking up and billing up the thing like, rah! I can't believe what I'm seeing. Look at him. Look. Look at the way he sprinkles. What is that he's sprinkling on? Oh my gosh, bro! What is this man doing? What is he even sprinkling on there? Was that pork? I thought AJ didn't even eat pork anyway. What's he sprinkling onto that thing? Unbelievable. So yeah, we'll go for a few more minutes. See if anybody else wants to pop in. We'll go for a few more minutes. Yeah, Sad Ken rolling a blunt. That is, to me, like I said, that is shocking. And like I said before, what I don't like to see is brothers perpetuating stereotypes that are negative. That's me. And we're all guilty of doing it. Maybe I'm guilty of doing that as well. But just for me personally, when I see brothers that are earning a lot of money and making millions, I like to see brothers reinforce positive stereotypes to help the next generation come forth and see you don't have to be a roadman to make money. You don't have to behave like a roadman. It's okay to do other things and do what. But no, this man's out here. He's worth £300 million and he's out here building a zoo out of cucumber, egg and whatnot. Absolutely unbelievable. Let's go through some final comments while I wait to see if anybody else is going to come on. Let's have a look here. The superficial observer says perpetuators of negative stereotype aren't brothers though. I disagree with that. I think I disagree with that, but that's okay. We'll have to agree to disagree. I don't think AJ's helping the cause here, but it is what it is. Shevin thinks it's fucking embarrassing. I can't believe that they've allowed that to go out, to be honest. Let's have a look at the comments quickly here. Okay, he's got a few women in there who love it. I want him to eat me up like this. So look, a few of his fans are loving it. Look, it is what it is. You know, if his fans love it, they love it. To me, it looks a bit silly, but maybe I'm a bit over the top. You guys can give your opinion on that. Yeah, I haven't seen the John Ryder versus Danny Jacobs fight, and it's not a fight that I'm really interested in going back to watch. I have heard there was possibly a bit of hometown cooking. I also hear that John Ryder has called out Canelo Alvarez, and Eddie Hearn is pushing for Canelo Alvarez versus John Ryder at Wembley Stadium. As if you wanted enough proof for me that British boxing is now dead. So the lines are open. I don't think anybody's going to phone in this time. This would be your last chance, really, because I think going into the last run of this show, which is going to be Khan and Brooke, I think, we're going to start opening the chat for subscribers only. So in order to be in the chat, you'll probably need to be a subscriber, especially for the Khan and Brooke live. Do you know what? Where is that Khan and Brooke? Riku's got it in the DMs, but I cannot find a way to get Amir Khan on Khan Ottoman Kebab. Do you know that thing we were talking about? Khan and Brooke, and we were talking about Amir Khan at the kebab shop. Amir Khan promoting kebabs in the run-up to his fight with Kell Brook. And I can't find that. Hold on. I'm going to have one more try. I have it in my DMs. I don't know how to bring it up on the screen. There was Amir Khan was an Ottoman kebab shop. And Amir Khan was saying, this doner is bad. And I still can't get it. It is what it is. Yeah, Crazy D3 says Tony Sims called out Canelo. Tells you everything you need to know about Tony Sims, doesn't it? CRB1 says Canelo versus John Ryder is like that part in Bloodsport where John Claude's friend's name popped up on the board versus what's his name? I think I know what you're talking about. Because Bolo Yeung, innit? Bolo Yeung was the boss in Bloodsport, innit? Bolo Yeung was the boss in Bloodsport. But yeah, next week it's Amir Khan versus Kell Brook. We may be doing, if we still have a YouTube by then, a Gloves Are Off special. So when the Gloves Are Off comes out, I haven't seen it yet, but when the Gloves Are Off officially comes out between Khan and Brook, we may do a Gloves Are Off special. We may do a Gloves Are Off special, just doing a little reaction to the... I'm quite keen to push the Brook and Khan fight because this fight has been 10 years in the making. For 10 years, they talked about doing this fight. And for 5 years, Eddie Hearn told everybody he was going to make this fight happen, and he failed to do it. So we must celebrate this fight happening. And then after Khan and Brook, on February the 19th, hopefully, oh, Sonny Singh's popping in. Jesus. Hopefully, we will... here we go. Is this the one, Richard? I can't post the link. Right, Sonny Singh's here. Just before I bring Sonny in, let me just try this link. One sec. Yeah, that's the one, but I can't find the video. I can't find the video. There's one of him I've got, Richard, but I'll get it. Okay, like here we go. Sonny Singh is here. How are we doing, Sonny?
How's it going, dude? You all right?
It's all right. It's all kicking off. Bloody hell. Dillian Whyte stalling on this contract, and Anthony Joshua's out here rolling blunts out of falafels. I mean, it's just boxing at the minute. I mean, Sonny, I've said it before. British boxing at the minute is at an all-time low. It's dire at the minute. And I just think, with every passing day, with every passing hour, my point is being proved. Sonny, give us your thoughts on the contract situation, if you would like to, between Dillian Whyte and Tyson Fury. Is Dillian going to sign? What are your thoughts, Sonny?
Well, I think a part of it, because everyone's talking about gimmicks, and Hearn, the way he plays things out, he's the front man, he's Mr. Charisma. The gimmick they built around Dillian is at jeopardy too, because if he swerves Fury, this whole most avoided, hasn't been given a shot, he ends up going to the back of the line, but he's diminished this whole thing anyway. So I think for the character, what I'm getting at is, I think they're going to struggle going forward if they don't accept both their fights. As in, if Tyson Fury doesn't, Dillian Whyte doesn't fight Tyson Fury, and AJ doesn't fight Usyk, this shit about people not wanting to play ball with them, that narrative smashes to pieces. I don't see how you can then say, well, we've been swerved, we've been avoided, because they've run out of room to squirm and squiggle away from now. Because I can't see a way that he can get out of this without looking like a coward. And I know, like you say, you don't want to use those terms. A lot of us on here don't really play that game. But how on earth do you justify it going like, yeah, well, production value, this, I'm not sure if this guy has any experience. Well, what on earth are they going out with? So I wonder about that side of things. We're going forward. I don't see a way for him unless he goes into the ring with someone like a Deontay Wilder. His reputation's on the floor. I don't see a way back from that. But that's why I think there's some leniency.
Let me just butt in, Sonny. When Matchroom ran this Dillian Whyte, the Can Man gimmick, they ran that gimmick like Sid Vicious back in the day. Remember Sid Vicious when Sid Vicious was out here bouncing jobbers around? That's how they marketed Dillian Whyte. They marketed Dillian Whyte like he was a killer. I don't know if you can see there. They marketed Dillian Whyte like he was a prime Sid Vicious. Do you know what I mean? Prime Sid Vicious. Do you know what I mean? Do you remember back in the day in 1990, yeah, when everybody thought Sting was afraid to fight Sid Vicious, yeah, and then they had that fight for the world title. That's like what Dillian Whyte fans remind me of, They promoted this man to be the most avoided man in boxing. That's how they promoted Dillian Whyte, the most avoided, feared man in all of boxing. This man was so feared that the WBC were engaged in a global, worldwide conspiracy to deny him a title shot for 1,000 days because him and his left hook were just so dangerous and just so vicious. And I don't know, Sonny. I mean, I agree with you on that. I find it very, very difficult to see. I mean, carry on. I mean, what do you think the narrative's going to be if he doesn't sign it? How are they going to try and spin this one, Sonny?
Good point. I don't know if they can. I don't know if they just have to try and swerve it, and then they go in the different direction of, well, there's some problem behind the scenes. People aren't privy to this contract. They've done it before, haven't they? They try to say terms aren't right, keep us out of the loop, and try and just because Hearn is a spinster. We got to give him that, even if we don't like the guy. He is able to come out with all this bullshit narrative, like with the, not to go completely off track, but that shit about, he said on TalkSport as well, Tyson Fury didn't want to fight Usyk. It's like, mate, if anyone has any idea about basic programming development, if then else, if AJ says unequivocally, I am going to fight Usyk, there is no chance for Tyson Fury to fight him. So I think Hearn will try and find some way to spin a web. Oh, wow, look, it'll be a great fight. Joseph Parker, look at the last minute of that one. Everyone will want to see that. It'll be Chisora 3. I think he will definitely try and spin it, but I think his credibility is shot. So for me, there isn't a way around it. But that would be it. If we're gonna play that game, it would be probably, oh well, Tyson Fury is being awkward. He can't guarantee he's going to take the fight. They'll come up with some excuse that we can't clearly disprove, and then go, well, there's big fights out there still for him, because they've done it with other fights, haven't they, before like that?
Hey, Sonny, let me ask you, why has Whyte, in your opinion, not signed this contract? Just to clarify, still 160 people. I don't know how, but just to clarify. He's been told, according to Bob and Frank in today's IFL TV interviews, he's been told that he does not have to promote this fight. So there's going to be, so if he doesn't want to promote the fight, then that's it. He doesn't have to promote the fight. All they want him to do is sign what they are calling, we don't know if they put changes in it, but what they are calling the WBC standard contract. All they've said for Dillian Whyte is, that's fine, Dillian. We're going to pay you 20%. All we want from you is to sign the agreement. You don't have to promote the fight. I've also heard that if he was interested in promoting the fight or doing something with it, and the fight did very, very successful, and the fight made a lot of money on pay-per-view, they would be open to giving Whyte a little bit extra money from their pay-per-view back end. So I'm trying to figure out, Sonny, here's my point. What is the reason for Dillian Whyte not signing this contract? Like, what could possibly be the holdup?
I don't know. It's a good question, isn't it, really? What is the hold-up? Unless they are playing the game that Andre the Giant said, as in there is something going on there, and they're thinking, do you know what? Actually, we dislike this guy so much that actually that he's so determined, Hearn, is to try and fuck things up. And to be fair, Dillian Whyte did burn the bridge, didn't he? Saying you've been on your ass for all these years and all this. Dillian doesn't have anywhere to go, so if Hearn is spinning a narrative, he has to go with him because he didn't play the game, did he? Really? So I think if I don't know if it elapses, the week elapses, whatever it is, it's 21st, and there is no fight. I think what Joe had a good point that maybe there will be something that drags it out that bit further. They get a bit more time to think because I don't see a way past that he cannot take this fight. So for me, I think both of those guys, AJ and Dillian, are the cornered for where I'm concerned. If they want to carry on.
So everybody, what do you think about Dean Whyte? We've all talked about Dean Whyte's latest interviews, and I don't know if you've seen some of them. I'm pretty sure you would have seen the one from last week where Dean Whyte was talking about there were concerns from the Dillian Whyte side about the production quality of the show. They were concerned about the production quality of the show. Dean Whyte's been concerned because Frank Warren hasn't done a stadium show in a very long time. Actually, not true. We showed the Carl Frampton and Josh. Well, it depends if you think 2018, but Dean Whyte said he was concerned about Frank Warren running a stadium show. So these are the concerns that have been brought up by Dean Whyte, who's very, very close to Dillian. Concerns about Frank Warren's ability to run a stadium show. Concerns that Eddie Hearn and Matchroom aren't involved, and quote unquote nobody does it like Matchroom. Do you think that these are actually genuine concerns that they have, or do you think it's now a case where, look, it's now squeaky bum time and we're sort of looking for a way not to sign this agreement?
I think he's in a similar position to Kell Brook, as in I don't think they considered that Hearn wouldn't win the bid, and a bit different with Kell. But I mean, I don't think Kell thought that Hearn would turn on him. I think they're sort of left in the cold. I don't think they thought for a second, hold on a second, Frank Warren's going to win this. So maybe it is a bit of a shit. How do we fucking get out of this and try and bring some legitimate claims forward? Because a lot of people thought that Hearn would win it, and because I don't know, like they don't have anywhere else to go. So if Hearn wants to play a political game here, they're stuck. So I think that. If people, I don't know, maybe they're gauging the reaction, because if enough people say, actually Frank's too small a promoter, maybe their core fan base wouldn't turn on them, or as people say, AJ's fan base that like Dillian, they wouldn't. They go, actually Frank's shit, crap promoter. You do see it, don't you? On a lot of interviews, they're going on there like Frank's wronged them, and they do talk shit about him, like he's fucking crap and all that. But I don't see how these guys benefit though from going that route. He's got the fight, he wanted the fight. You may as well pursue that avenue now, unless it is a case of we can't beat this guy, the wheels come off, we got to get every penny we can. That's what it does seem like. They're pushing towards trying to milk every drop, which if you believe you can beat him, this is the thing with the first AJ fight, wasn't it, 2019? Smash him, and then you beat him on the rematch anyway, won't you? But he's turned the opportunity down. So, I think, sorry, to actually answer the question, if it is narrative building, then this next week is going to get really interesting, because we're going to hear more of this, aren't we, or something else that comes out, because it is 7 days, isn't it, if I'm correct? So we have 1 week or 8 days, whatever it is, and we get our answer. We find out if us lot are wrong that the fight's going to go ahead. Great, I want to see this fight. I really do.
Let me ask you. I wanted to ask you about the original point you made about Anthony Joshua versus Usyk, and this imaginary rematch clause activation that took place back in October of last year. Do you think, tell me if you think I'm wrong here, do you think that what's going on with Dillian Whyte at the minute is in some way intrinsically linked to the fact that Matchroom might not want to put Anthony Joshua in the ring with Alexander Usyk next, because they're concerned that he hasn't had enough time with his new trainer? His new trainer still has not been announced, and that Matchroom are very, very concerned about what happens if they were to send him into a rematch uncooked with Alexander Usyk. Do you think that is sort of the real sort of story about what's going on about here? Dillian Whyte could still be being used as some kind of guard dog, or in essence to a sort of backup AJ or something like that. What do you think about that?
It makes sense, doesn't it, in terms of somebody wanting to have a new trainer, get a fight in, and then come back at it. But then then the conflicting things are things like saying, oh, Hearn went, oh, AJ said he doesn't need a trainer to beat him. Actually, he said he'll fight him without one. And I think that personally, I think he's got a bit of an identity crisis, exactly where he's going and what sort of person he wants to be. Like I said, the fighter, or he's going to be trying to be the boxer. For me, just on that note, we hear all this shit about, I know some people are joking about it, but the throwback fighter stuff, as far as I'm concerned, the other guys playing games too. Usyk is the only throwback fighter I think at present who's fought everybody at every stage is required.
I would 100% agree with that. Even over Fury, I would say, yeah. Out of Fury, Whyte, and AJ, who's the throwback fighter? It was fucking Usyk. He's the one who's moving up weights, went into Anthony Joshua's backyard, all odds against him, and fought him. Carry on.
Yeah, and what I wanted to see from that, because it's a thing when people think like all of us like who actually like boxing, you don't want to see this shit happening with all this stupid politics. You want to see the fights. I think what would have been phenomenal from an AJ perspective to really show that thing about being a throwback should have been, fuck it, let's face him in Ukraine. But I don't know about now with the political situation, but that thing of like, nah, fuck it, we'll go there. I'll take the belt off him. I don't care about going to a lion's den. Go in there with that mentality of it doesn't fucking matter where I am. I'm gonna go there. I'm gonna take the title off this boy. We didn't see that energy where people can rip Deontay apart. All the shit they say, actions speak louder than words. This geezer, Frank confirmed it, didn't even entertain any fucking, what's it called, the cash out, the step aside. He was like, fuck that, I'm facing Tyson Fury. He could have took the money and had another infinite semi-final. It's like, fuck that, I'm facing Tyson Fury. There's no point offering money. And then AJ in that same interview, IFL, was like, well, my team know not to bring that shit to me. And then 2 minutes later was like, yeah, but I'm a businessman. Like, mate, fuck's sake, which one is it? If you're going to fight him and you're a throwback, say, fuck it, I don't give a shit. And we thought we would have got a date. So it's bloody confusing, isn't it, what's going on there? But I do think, like I said, that to me would have really been a statement. Say, we're facing him in Ukraine. Who gives a shit about fucking ticket sales and all that crap, mate? We get to see the fight. So, and what a dominance. The way of showing dominance would have been to go there and beat him. I don't think he knows he can beat him. I think when Hearn said on TalkSport's eating him up, he doesn't have ideas. I personally don't think he can beat him, and I think he gets stopped late if he's not careful this time.
Do you I just think people agreeing with you in the comments. One thing I've said about Anthony Joshua, and again, I think he's a world-class fighter, but I've raised this time and time again, right? And he hasn't had to have the odds really been stacked against him? And I keep saying this. I'm trying to think, Sonny, of a time in the professional game where Anthony Joshua's really had the odds stacked against him. So he's just been beaten up, yeah? Right? He's been beaten up by Usyk. He's not going to have to go really to Ukraine, right, and fight Usyk. Normally, he's not going to have to go back to the backyard. He was beaten to a pulp by Andy Ruiz in their fight. He didn't have to go back to America, did he? He was still able to have that fight in his backyard, on his promotion, with all his own terms and everything, isn't he? It's like he hasn't really had to face. He had to face adversity, but he hasn't really had to face that kind of real gritty away win, has he? He hasn't had to go and say, and it's funny, isn't it, Sonny? He calls himself a throwback fighter, but I think you raise a really, really good point. A throwback fighter would say, no, I'm going to go away from home. For me, a throwback fighter, after you get beat by Andy Ruiz, would say, no, I'm going to go back to the scenes of the crime and undo it. I'm going to go back to Madison Square Garden if I can, and I'm going to undo that. I'm willing to go to Ukraine in the backyard, and I'm willing to undo that. And for me, there are question marks, Sonny, over does he have that kind of mentality? Sorry, carry on, brother.
No, I think that's absolutely on point, because the thing is, isn't it, that was it you said that Ingram said it, that he has always been the favourite, and going into things, I mean, to fair to him, that's not his fault, is it? If people are backing him and he's going into that, that's not on his shoulders. But yeah, definitely that thing of where we look in the traditional route where, I don't know, trying to think of names right now. Tyson Fury was it was in Dusseldorf, wasn't it? He beat Vladimir. David Hay won his world title in Paris. Trying to think of some of the other lads, but guys that won world titles away from sword, there's a certain respect that comes with that in boxing, and I think that's the thing that makes that journey, I don't know, more believable for him to go there. Because the thing is, isn't it, it's one of those where you can't swim without getting wet. I know that anxiety stuff is a factor, but it's weird that it just sort of come up out of nowhere. I don't remember seeing this. I could be wrong. I haven't watched back his previous professional fights. I think I've seen him more when he was coming up on the undercards, but I don't remember this ever being an issue. And then all of a sudden it was. So
let me just quickly butt in and ask you something as well, because it's about what Lewis Lee's just said. Usyk's the real road man going into everyone else's backyard. Andre the
agreed.
Giant made a good point here. He said, remember when we had the Andy Ruiz rematch? He said that rematch got done and dusted very, very quickly. There was a bit of a lull when we thought Andy Ruiz was trying to get out of it and stuff, but the Andy Ruiz rematch clauses and everything, that whole situation didn't drag on anywhere as near as long as this AJ versus Anthony, this Usyk versus Anthony Joshua rematch thing has gone on. And the common denominator between those two, the big difference between those fights is when Anthony Joshua lost to Andy Ruiz, it was very much seen as a flash in the pan. It was very much seen as AJ wasn't right. He said it himself, I wasn't right before the fight. That loss never really bothered me because I wasn't right, yeah? And I knew, look, I'll go in there and correct it. He lost to Usyk. He said he was absolutely 100% right. He lost fair and square to Usyk. And now all of a sudden, yeah, it's now October we're nearly in March of 2022. And this fight has still not been signed. Do you think, look, there's a link between them? What I'm trying to get at is that is a bit convenient, isn't it? That the one time he actually gets beat, right? The one time he actually gets beat and he's up against somebody who he's genuinely now asking questions, really. By his own admission, for the first time in his career, he's having to look in the mirror and say, can I actually beat this guy? Like, can I really beat this guy? Like, he didn't have to say that for Carlos Takam. Didn't really have to say that against Alexander Povetkin. Didn't have to say that against Dominic Brazil. Didn't have to say that against Charles Martin. Didn't have to say that against the other legendary these top 10 resume guys he's been fighting.
Pulev.
Pulev and all these guys.
Parker,
he never really Parker and Pulev. The thing with those fights is he never really had to look in the mirror and say to himself, can I beat this guy? Maybe the Ruiz rematch. I'll give him credit for the Ruiz rematch. The Ruiz rematch, I'll give him credit for that. But he hasn't really had to look in the mirror too much, has he? And say, can I actually beat this guy? Is it just a case of this guy on his day is better than me? He's never really had to deal with that before, has he? And the first time now that he's had to deal with it, all of a sudden, it's been about 4 or 5 months, and we still haven't had the contract signed. Sorry, Sonny, carry on. That's what I was trying to say.
No, that's a good point, isn't it? Because and unfortunately, it's worked to his detriment because where like Fury getting put down by Cunningham, and it was embarrassing. Was that Madison Square Garden as well? I think it was, wasn't it? It's New York.
Yeah, it was.
And those things that relatively early still in his career, wasn't it? But it wasn't for a world title or anything like that. But those moments there, to bringing David Haye back into it, losing to Carl Thompson, these guys going through these early losses and these didn't go their way. I think they needed that humbling really, and it helped them. That's unfortunate for him. But at the same time, to be fair, the way he was promoted was to be that killer, wasn't it? And knocking people out. And you've got to give him credit for that. They did build it up, that the general perception in public were this guy's an absolute badass. He's knocking everybody out. But then, yeah, as soon as you're in adversity, what the fuck are you going to do when it's all gone your way? And I have a really good saying I always like, because you don't rise to the occasion, you fall to your level of training. He'd never been in that position before. Maybe they never trained him or taught him how to deal with it, focus on his breathing, get up, what can he do, practice that. I'm not sure, but yeah, unfortunately, when he was thrown into it, he drowned, didn't he, against Ruiz? And you're right, to his credit, he came back. He did win that fight. It was a bit of a Ruiz lost the fight as well with completely poor conditioning, but that's not AJ's fault. And yes, now he's in there with someone who's an absolute pro, who's looked after himself, who's boxed and breathed boxing his whole life. And I think he honestly is lost asking questions because there isn't an easy answer to this one. There isn't and I think I agree with you. Sorry, he did have issues because I thought when he was chewing on the gum shield before the Ruiz fight, something seemed off. Then like, what the fuck's going on here? So yeah, credit where credit is due. We don't know. Sometimes it's excuses, sometimes reasons. There did seem like there was a legit reason. AJ was off, but anyway, it's on the night you fight. He lost to Ruiz. Come back, beat him. I think with the Usyk thing, there is a bit of a what the fuck happened here because he went in there and it just didn't go his way. I think got to give Usyk a certain amount of credit that he didn't allow AJ to do certain things. That's probably why it was. Whereas in, I believe this in general sports because I've seen this. My background was more in football coaching, wasn't it, years ago? And like some of the kids that were good, when you start to see them going on a bit in age, and this is some of the level with the guys I knew, some of the pro coaches, you can't get by to a certain level on youthful attributes. You can't just think I'm just going to steamroll people. I'm fitter than them. I'm stronger than them. People are actually really good to a certain degree. It's in their brain. It's in their mind. They're thinking this. They're living this. And I think that's where he's come a cropper here, where his youthful attributes are going to be able to smash up people that are of a certain age, lack of experience. but actually the fine science, as what did he say, sick of being the sweet science boxer, whatever.
That made no sense what he was saying, Sonny, at all, did it? The stuff he says just makes no fucking sense. Carry on.
Yeah, but that's why I think he would benefit from somebody that would come in actually and go, right, but he won't listen to that person because he doesn't like criticism from what we've seen. He gets pissed off when people say shit he doesn't like. And unfortunately, the positive reinforcement thing seems to work. I guess the trainers, that's why they were doing that whole brilliant AJ. But he doesn't need that. He needs someone to come in and say, stop uploading these fucking stupid videos. Stop like going on about gangsters and saying that thing in the last few minutes of a video. It's really like people saying it was all cringe and all that. Like he was going about, I'm like this, I look up to this guy, do that. I like the Anthony Yard point he said when in their press conference, when on about take it back to the street. Any of us, I know guys in Winston Green prison, Birmingham or Featherstone in Wolverhampton. Well, what the fuck's the point of being like these lot? The background that us guys come from, I didn't think that was something to admire or to appreciate. I think that's fucking stupid. I don't know what the obsession is with like having I need to look like I'm one of these guys still from the roads. Fuck that, mate. Live your life. Get out of the hood if you don't want to stay there. Become something. I think he's in a bit of a conflict in that way. And an old school trainer would bloody help him to come in and say, stop all the bullshit on social media. Focus on fighting and fighting alone. Although the thing is, people said Lennox Lewis would be the one to help him. That ain't going to happen, is it?
No,
I
he
don't
said
know.
Lennox Lewis was a fool. But no, Sonny, I'd say, and listen, people, this is why, right, Sonny, look, Tyson Fury isn't perfect. By the way, let me just say for the record, apparently I'm a shill for Tyson Fury. I have no idea why. I've said for a long time, Tyson Fury didn't give all that money to the homeless. By the way, I've had that one thrown at me before. Ultra's a shill for Tyson Fury. Ultra, what did Tyson Fury do with the money he was supposed to give to the homeless? Yeah, he spent it on himself. He may have given a little bit, but there's no way he gave his purse to the homeless. I think that's bullshit. Tyson Fury talks bullshit. I said to Daryl on a conversation a week ago, I don't think Tyson Fury's clean in terms of, is he substance free? Is Tyson Fury substance free? No, he's not. He's not. In my opinion, I could be wrong on that. But if someone asked me, Ultra, do you believe Tyson Fury is teetotal? No, absolutely not would be my answer. But my point is, right, with these AJ fans talking about resume, and this is why I've been sort of been batting back against all this endless chat about resume and listing top tens, because the talk about resume is kind of pointless, isn't it? The bottom line of it is, for all the fighters that you can listen, AJ's fought some very, very consistent opposition. On paper, yes, you're right. Everybody's correct. Who's fought better opposition on paper over the course of their career? Anthony Joshua or Tyson Fury? I would say the answer is Anthony Joshua. There you go. If you want me to say it, absolutely. Anthony Joshua has fought better opposition than Tyson Fury in terms of consistent opposition over the course of their career. But guess what? Here's the difference. And this is what I've been trying to explain politely to Anthony Joshua fans for the last 3 or 4 years, and why I'm going to stop bothering in general, right? Why I'm going to stop trying, right? It's because none of that resume stuff matters, right? None of that resume stuff matters. None of that top 10 stuff matters when you get in the ring with somebody who you're not sure if you can beat and you don't believe in yourself, like it appears that Anthony Joshua does right now. You look at when Fury fought Klitschko, right, and had to go to Germany, and nobody gave him a hope. Nobody gave him a hope to win. Eddie Hearn promoted that show, did he not? It wasn't a Matchroom show, but because it was a Sky show, Eddie Hearn was turning up as usual. He turned up to the open envelope. Nobody gave Fury a cat in hell's chance against Klitschko, right? Nobody backed him.
For that matter.
Nobody. I didn't back him. Right? The only person who backed Tyson Fury was two people: Fury himself and Boxing Gossip. Nobody backed him to beat Klitschko. I thought he'd be ahead on the cards and Klitschko would knock him out.
Well, fair
That's
play,
what I thought would
didn't
happen. I
BG
thought
backed him.
Yeah, BG backed him from the start.
Fair play.
I said he's going to be ahead on the cards, and then Klitschko's going to knock him out with a right hand.
That's what I
Never
thought.
happened.
I thought he'd get KO'd. I thought he'd get done.
I thought he'd be ahead on the cards and then get KO'd. When he fought Wilder the first time, they said it was a cash-out fight. That's what Eddie Hearn and Barry Hearn said. They said it was a big cash-out fight. He's going to get knocked out in a couple of rounds. That's what they said, right? So my point is this. If you talk about resumes all day, right, and top tens and all that kind of shit, but what I give more importance to is, how do these guys handle the pressure when they're in that real, genuine 50-50? Do you know what I mean, Sonny? That real, genuine 50-50. When you look in the mirror before the fight, or when you look in the mirror before you're going to spar, or if you look in the mirror and you think, do you know what? Hand on my heart, I don't know I can win this. I might win this. I might not win this. But I can't look in the mirror and guarantee I could win this fight. And AJ ain't had many of them fights at all, has he? He ain't had many of them fights, has he? Where he has to look himself in the mirror and say, you know what? Hand on heart, I'm not sure I'm going to win tonight. I'm away from home. You know, I'm away from home. It's not my judges. It's not my promotion. You know, the guy in the corner is the fancy guy. I'm not sure I can do this fight. He hasn't really had to deal with that, has he, Sonny? And the first time he kind of has, really, is this Usyk fight, really, isn't it? And he's not really responding very well. Sorry for yapping all over at you, Sonny. I'll let you finish off and then we'll go home. Sorry, carry on.
No, that's cool because there's good points, isn't it? That even with the Vlad fight,
yeah, well, he was at home.
Vlad,
he was at home.
Exactly.
He was that Vladimir Klitschko. Listen, he did fantastic against Vladimir Klitschko. I think that's one of his best performances after the Andy Ruiz rematch. He did fantastic against Vladimir Klitschko. But my point is, he was at home. He'd already seen Klitschko get beat. Do you know what I mean? He'd already seen Klitschko get beat 18 months ago.
Coming off a loss, exactly.
Yeah, he's seen Klitschko get beat. He didn't fight the Klitschko, the invincible Klitschko.
Yeah, it's a bit annoying that, isn't it? Because he's already been dethroned.
That's it, and everything was at home. Everything was he had it all of his home comforts. The O2 Arena, his own promoter. 90,000 fans who were willing him to win. When he got dropped with that heavy shot, by Klitschko, he wasn't in Madison Square Garden. He was in Wembley Arena, 90,000 of his own fans. Can you imagine it? Maybe if Anthony Joshua had got dropped with that heavy right hand in the middle of Germany, with about 10 British fans in the background, maybe he wouldn't have got up from that shot. Maybe it would have been different. Maybe he wouldn't have got up. Maybe the desire wouldn't have been the same. He had. I'm not trying to take credit away from him, right? But I'm just saying, he's had a lot of things his own way, Sonny. Like I said, that Klitschko fight, he had it his own way. The Andy Ruiz rematch, he fought Andy Ruiz away from home in Saudi Arabia. But really, do you know what I mean? Like I said before, I felt like, it was kind of almost like the anti-Joshua show. But that's just my opinion. But now he's really having to look in the mirror. And that's what I'm trying to say, Sonny. He's now in this Usyk fight. I mean, even now, to be honest, he's not having to go to Usyk's backyard. Do you know what I mean? But now more than ever, Sonny, he's gonna have to look in that mirror and find the answers. I believe what we're seeing from Anthony Joshua, his behaviour, I think genuinely is bizarre. And to me, they're the signs of a man who's not really coping well with the uncertainty, Sonny. He's not coping very well with the uncertainty of, is this the end or not? Not the end of his career, but is this the end of me being, the best of my era or being mentioned alongside those greats? Is this the end? We all have to face uncertainty in life, and for me, Sonny, he's not doing a very good job of handling that. Whereas I think other fighters, Sonny, like maybe your Furies, even people criticize him. I'm not saying Wilder's better than AJ, and I'm not saying Wilder's resume is great or he's a great boxer. But even Wilder, to be fair, didn't he? Look at that beating he took in the second fight. He had to stand in the mirror. When you watch that third fight of Wilder versus Fury 3, right? When you see that third fight of Wilder versus Fury 3, right, you will see Wilder gets announced by Jimmy Lennon Jr. and he takes like 20 minutes to come out. Like they're literally sitting in the arena for 20 minutes waiting for Deontay Wilder to come out. He won't come out. And he ain't coming out because he knows this is it. He's in the changing room and he's saying, look, I'm going into that ring tonight. I took an absolute pounding the last time. This might be it for me. This might be the end of my career. And he handled it and he went out and he handled his business, Sonny. I just don't think Anthony Joshua, I'm not sure if he has that in him. Carry on.
I had a quick look at the comments then a minute ago, and one of the guys said something that reminded me is a good point. What you were talking about links in well, that whether people like this guy or not, where Teddy Atlas had a video where he talked about after and giving Deontay respect, and he mentions it very theatrically. So if you guys haven't seen it, check that out after. It's a good delivery. And he was talking about exactly that. Like, he needs to go home. He's got to look at himself as a man. He has to know. Frank saying he didn't even entertain, step aside. He had respect for doing that. I think this is the part where, unfortunately, he's a bit gun shy, but I think he's worried about I think the unfortunately for him, the perception built up about him being this absolute monster that couldn't ever be hurt has worked massively against him. Go in that ring. Yeah, because this is the thing, isn't it? This is what pisses me off with these guys. I hate using these kind of terms, but if you're supposed to be a sport dominated by alpha males, why the fuck first are everyone so fucking bothered by criticism when someone says something you don't like words are fucking hurting you? That pisses me off, man. And then with how things have gone for him. It's like, dude, you have so much respect for yourself as a man. That's what I agree with Hearn on that thing. I think Hearn was right when he said this is eating him up. I think that's why it's manifesting in different ways, where it's pissed him off that what's happened, because there is no excuse. There wasn't a reason where he had anxiety attack, he was KO'd in sparring. Whatever happened before the Reese fight, something was up. Wasn't the case this time. Teddy Atlas mentioned that. I 100% agree. If he goes in there and thinks, fuck this, gets an old school trainer, gets rid of half these, like, fuck's sake, the fact that there's a picture and has to label who's on his team, that's a fucking problem. There's too many people around. It needs to be much more simplified. It's stupid. It's like a Where's Wally, that was, to me. It's like, fuck's sake, man.
We're talking. Sonny's talking about the picture of AJ and he's 20. I'm just getting up.
The
Carry on, Sonny.
entourage,
I've got it. I found it. Here you go. That was the AJ team for Joseph Parker. There you go. You got 24 people. 24 people with AJ tracksuits there. That's his team. 24 people in that team. Carry on.
I like Deontay as a fighter, and that's what I think I thought was massive respect. That it was one of those where whatever, win, lose or draw, you're right. Even more in context after you said that, the fucking second fight was such a battering. You think, dude, don't come back from this. But he's got such a warrior mindset, like he said he had, like he was saying. You'd rather get carried out on your shield. Sorry, that was his words, wasn't it? Going out. He got rid of his trainer. People going, oh, he's an idiot, all that shit. But actions speak louder than words. Deontay got in that ring still, and you're right. He was contemplating what was going to happen. I like the entrance. Till this day, sounding. He comes in the ring and he gave it everything. Hit the deck, got up, put Fury down twice, and ultimately is defeated. But that's throwback fighter to me. That style of going in there and thinking, listen, this is a thing, isn't it? You're in a sport where it's for dominance. It's the whole alpha male style, one man versus another. Don't be so scared, because that's the thing. Ultimately, regret's the real killer. Living in regret is hell. We're going a little bit off track, but I get what he means by the brain training and all this. I know it's hilarious how he worded it, but I've worked with guys that have had like suicidal issues and things like that with some of these charities I got involved in. So I understand that sometimes you do need help. I personally think there is use.
Can I just butt in? Do you not find it so weird how? And I always found it weird. He mentioned brain training, right? But who does brain training? Usyk. And I've always found that so strange. Like, Usyk is one of the very, very few fighters that does any of that stuff. Usyk and Lomachenko. That's very much an Usyk and a Lomachenko thing to do. They solve puzzles, and that's something that Antonio Lomachenko is known for doing. He's one of the only trainers I've ever seen do that kind of thing. So it's so bizarre for me that as soon as Anthony Joshua loses to Usyk, all of a sudden he's talking about how he needs to do brain training and mind training and that kind of stuff before fights. It's almost to me, and I'm probably clutching at straws, it's almost to me like he's trying to imitate. But sorry, Sonny, carry on.
Yeah, I think that it agreed, but maybe that was, to be fair to him, maybe that's a humble view on things of thinking, you know, actually my setup's not been right, and he's reflected and thought there needs to be more attention to this. He talked about motivational videos, so maybe he's not up for training, maybe he's not giving everything. These things do have an effect, I think, on people. They do help you in terms of focusing. People go to the gym, don't they, and put music on. The only thing I could read into that is he did acknowledge that his setup is poor in some capacity, that things are not going as well as they should. He's open to different things. Maybe the wording wasn't great because, again, everyone thinks of the Nintendo bloody DS, whatever it was, doctor, whatever's brain training. It was a bit like, fuck's sake, mate. But yeah, maybe it is the mental preparation. On his way to the ring, he shouldn't be high-fiving. Like, what was that thing that Batista said? Shouldn't be kissing babies and hugging fat girls or whatever it was. Like,
what was he doing, mate? Listen, people don't understand. I mean, listen, I don't think you have to act like a tough guy. I've got no problem with people being cordial, but as Ingram was saying, I mean, selfies at the weigh-in. It's a big issue, Sonny. Right, take us out of here because it's been nearly 3 hours and I'm going. We're ending with you, Sonny. Is Whyte taking the fight? Yes or no? Give us a prediction. What will happen with Whyte? Will he take the fight? Yes or no? And then after that, tell us, will AJ versus Usyk happen and how you think that's going at the minute, how you think that plays out.
Okay, well, I'm going to say what I hope happens, really, because this is what I'm going to have some belief. Unfortunately, boxing's let us all down far too many times. So I'm going to hope he does sign it. They've dragged their feet to be awkward. They don't like Frank Warren, as we know, and maybe they're playing some games in the background. Time is running out on that, and I hope it happens. I 100% want to see this fight. With this fight taking place, it leaves AJ with Usyk, picks a trainer, goes for it. I think personally he gets stopped late. if he doesn't fight Usyk, then unfortunately he's going to lose his place in Q. I think all of these guys haven't got that many fights left, so maybe they'll reflect on that and realise. So that I'm going to go with the hope for the positive side. He is going to sign. He's dragging his feet. He's making it awkward, and I think that it's going to happen. The Fury will win ultimately. Sorry to give my prediction on that one. I do think Fury will beat him. I don't think he has. I think it just doesn't have enough. Really doesn't. And then Fury can defeat himself, as you guys have said in the past, and I do agree with that. He's looking very heavy in the video footage we all saw, and AJ does take the fight for me. I think
he looks in bad shape, by the way, Karen. He doesn't look in good shape at all.
Yeah, exactly. Probably the worst I've seen him in a few years. I don't think he ballooned that much at all between the Wilder fights. Once he got on that run, and then anyway, so yeah, I think he does sign. I don't know what the fuck the hold up is with this thing, unless maybe to give them some credit, maybe it's the whole thing that they're trying to find a way to formulate the zone pay-per-view, and they're sorting out some technicalities. But you thought you would have got an announcement, so I'm going for the positive. I hope both fights happen. I want to see them this year, but I don't think either of those guys win and match him in a real fucking disaster, where it's like, right, clutch at straws time. Do we get the Joseph Parker fight with Dillian? Do they put Dillian with AJ? I think they would stall that. If both their fighters lose, they won't let them fight each other immediately because it's a salvage operation. So yeah, I'm going to go on the more positive side of things, and I'm hoping it happens.
Thank you very much, Sonny. I really appreciate it, and thanks for coming on, my brother.
No problem, man. Enjoy the Haagen-Dazs, and yeah, guys, what's it called? It's a good one, and it ain't been on for a while, so it's good chat. Like everyone had to say, Andre the Giant Man, like we said, make him a regular. He was lethal, wasn't he? We got hashtag, was it arse in the butter? I like that one. So anyway, yeah, cool. Thanks for having me on, dude. Hope you're well, and take care, everyone. Chat to you guys soon.
Take care, Sonny. Okay, that's my man, Sonny. Listen, we've got some killers. Anyone like Andre the Giant? He's a killer. Andre the Giant, Abdul the Butcher, Abdullah the Butcherer. Why did he all begin with A? Why is that? Why do the most outspoken people all names all begin with A? Guys, we've been on for 3 hours. I hope you've enjoyed the show. Just a random chat. I'm going to go back now to normal life. Hopefully I don't get too many death threats or people asking to debate me for 2 hours, or people making videos about me, or people asking for my address. Okay. Because I have a different opinion on boxing. We'll have to wait and see. The countdown is carrying on. 6 to 8 days for Dillian Whyte to sign the contract. Will he or won't he? We will find out very soon. Peace out.